Oh, so it actually doesn't. It's not picking up anything. Yeah. Elgato's streaming. Hold on. Let's all like be quiet for a second. Okay. It looks like it's picking up the music. Can you say something? Wait, say something again. Okay, it is not picking you up. Let's see. What the overall issue is. Okay. Love that. That this is a thing right now. Let's see if I can do this without calling tech support over. There we go. There's the issue. Let's see. Input that, and then I want to connect this to my voice chats. So, all right, now say something.
Check it out.
There we go. We got my boy in here now. Oh
yeah,
right.
boy.
Yeah, boy's in here.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
Hola. Biblio.
Hola. Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz. Gosh, I love the community. I feel like it started to fall off though after season 5.
Yeah, and like when you watch season 4, you can tell that Dan's not there anymore, but I don't think it's as bad as people come down on it to be.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think
like
because they even did the thing where he does like Wong like farts when they're naming off like the years.
Oh,
and he farts at season 4, and he's like, and he laughs about it. He's like, that's like an inside joke, and like on year 4, and then they talk about, and then they go year 5, year 6, and but I never really got that as well. Like I never got the impression like season 4 was just the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, my mic stand decides to fall off its hinges. Yeah, hi-fi might be the new thing that we stick to.
Okay.
And this I love Harris Heller. Harris Heller is the dude that I play all my music for. I was in the top 0.5% of listens for his channel.
Oh, rad.
Whenever we did like the Spotify breakthrough. Oh my gosh, my microphone's actually like trying to like come off
trying
its
to eat
hinges.
you?
It's literally trying to come off its hinges.
No holds barred, Mario. Tonight I'm coming off.
That's the one thing is like I love this thing and I pull it back and forth a lot, but I guess in doing so like I create a lot of potential energy where it's clamped onto my desk and then that part slides off and everything else is good, but maybe I just need to find a more secure way of keeping it there. Just take like some duct tape and just like drop it down in one place, one spot. All right. So we are live. Let me. We Hello, fellow heroes, and welcome to the Digital Roundtable, where me, your host, Mario, and my co-host, Jeff,
Hi.
talk about movies and all things movie related and movies and shows and cinema and silver screens and big screens.
And then sometimes the comic books and sometimes the video games and other stuff.
And then more movies, and then we talk about
People who make movies.
people who make movies, and we talk about this is the whole show right here. We talk about what we talk about, and we talk about what's up, guys. Didn't know if I was actually gonna record today. It's been a holiday season where been taking a break from a lot of things. Ezio with the subscription and my entire thing not doing anything with that. Why did my alert box not go off? Man, the update really messed up my stream. Thank you. I'll take the hydrate. Thank you, Ezio, for subbing. If we're late for going live, mainly because it's my fault. I was talking to Jeff about the business. We were talking like about logistics.
It's been a couple weeks. We were catching up. We were making some small talk.
Yeah, we were small talk, and then it just got to a point where I was like, I'm just gonna record us talking, which coincidentally enough is exactly how the podcast started. Was I'm like,
yeah, we were like we wanted to talk about stuff during our post D&D kind of chatting. You know, when we're done playing D&D and you're just kind of catching up with everybody, and we were like, dude, like, I want to talk to you at length about this thing, but it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to bed.
exactly. And
and we needed an excuse to talk to each other.
And now that's what we do. We talk to each other. We do those things. I was telling Jeff, and I'll tell you guys this as well. I had the holidays alone with Kate. This was actually Friday and Saturday, my first days off since March. From anything. Like my first time being off from work and then coming home and not working on the stream, not working on the podcast, not working on like the content since March. And let me tell you, that was a feeling. Holy shit. It was like you ever like lay in a pool and just let yourself float? That's how I felt. Just not a worry, no stress whatsoever. Just complete greatness.
I mean, I've let myself float, but I've never been not stressed. That sounds amazing.
You've never been not stressed? You should try it sometime.
Because I'm floating, but I'm gonna hit the edge at some point, and so like every 10 seconds I look up to see like how close I am to the edge.
I think Friday was much more relaxing than Saturday for me, because Friday I knew I had Saturday. And so yeah. I was like, I'm nothing. I'm not going to think about anything. I'm not going to do anything. I did get hit hard with the allergies. Like so much so that I left work early today because I was like, I'm just not doing it anymore. And I just woke up. Kid you guys not, I woke up like 30 minutes ago. I basically got home, took some medicine, and just went to sleep. And it's not for lack of sleep either. Like I've been staying up late playing video games, but I've been sleeping in and I've been relaxing. But like my allergies, I was telling Jeff this, I would sneeze and I would get like aches. I would get like a shock wave of just aches throughout my body. and I was at work, and I was just sneezing at work, and I was coughing, and I had this weird thing where, like, I don't know if you ever have allergies where you sneeze and there's something in the back of your throat, and it just kind of makes you go like there's just something. It's not mucus. It's just like your body's like recoiling back from the sneeze. And I'm talking, I was sneezing like 10 times in a row. Like, it's not just achoo, and then like 5 minutes later, achoo. It's like achoo, 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 achoo. Like, I was like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this. At work, it wasn't as bad. I was sneezing like 3 to 4 times in a row, but I was like, I need a rest. I just need one more day of rest. I thought I was good to go to work, but no, I was miserable.
It's the end of the year, dude. If you got that sick time, you got to use it.
Yeah, that's true. Because I'm about to reset, and I'm about to get all my personal time back, and I'm just gonna use it on the first week. Be like, yeah, I need to take some personal time. I need to just like personally get away from you guys.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna try to be more aware of using my vacation time. I don't know if you and I have talked about this, but I'm very bad at requesting days off.
Really?
Because I'm very set in my routine of like, all right, these are the days that I work. I wake up, I go to work, I come home, watch a little bit of TV and YouTube or whatever, and I go to bed. And then on my days off, I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna chill and relax and do laundry and like do some stuff around the house or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I don't make plans, really. Plans come to me because like my friends or family members will be like, hey, this is happening. Like, do you want to join us, or do you want to go do something, or like whatever? But I don't actively make plans, and what ends up happening is around August, Amanda, our assistant store manager, will come to me and go, bro. I mean, she doesn't say bro, but I'm embellishing to make the story more entertaining.
Amanda comes up, like, bro, like, you have all these holidays and this vacation time, bro.
Exactly. And she'll basically like tell me, you have to start asking for time off. Like, you can't just keep banking all these vacation days.
Watch me. I'll take the whole year off and you won't do anything
exactly.
about it.
But it's funny because like earlier this year, my friends and I, we were talking about something, but somehow the movie The Room came up in conversation. And my friend's wife had never heard of The Room. She thought we were talking about Room, the Ellen Donahue novel that then got turned into a movie with Brie Larson, where Brie Larson is a woman who gets kidnapped by a man and then held hostage in a storage unit, basically, and like she gets raped by her assailant, has a kid, and like raises her child. Like it's a great movie. Like, she won the Academy Award for it. But anyway, she thought that we were talking about that movie, and I had to explain, no. The Room is this crazy movie with Tommy Wiseau, and oh my god, you just gotta see it. So we planned a movie night, like, and it was gonna be this thing, like, we're gonna get together, we're gonna like cook a lot of like treats. It was during Halloween, so we made lots of little Halloween themed entrees and all sorts of stuff. And we watched The Room. But anyway, I was like, cool, I have a reason to ask for time off. So I asked for Monday, because I'm usually off on Tuesdays. And so I planned that, because I'm like, I know we're going to be doing tequila shots, so I want the following Tuesday to recover. But Amanda was like, I'm giving you the following Wednesday as well. So you're going to have 3 days off in a row. Because she's like, you got to take time off. Bro, those 3 days were so euphoric. And
they
so
make a
therapeutic.
difference.
But the weird thing is, like, I didn't do anything. Like,
yeah.
Yes, like I went and hung out with my friends. We watched a bunch, because like we watched Varsity Blues, which is a whole, like, I got a whole tangent about Varsity Blues. We'll get into that in the future. But then like Tuesday, woke up, like we had mimosas and pancakes and like just kind of hung out, and then I went home and slept because we'd been up all night. And then Wednesday, I just kind of like hung out around the house. But Wednesday, I was like, I'm not doing anything, but this feels so good. Because technically, I should be at work. This isn't my normal day off, but I'm not working today. that's neat. I just had this like freaking I was in Nirvana, and so this year I'm gonna try to like actually instead of just requesting random days off for the sake of relaxation because your boss tells you need to start using your vacation days, I'm gonna like hop on the Googles and I'm gonna be like, what shows are coming to town, like concerts and stuff, like what movies would I like to see on a Friday, like before like at the same time everybody else is going, before I go on Saturday when everybody else has already seen it the previous day, shit like that.
So. Yeah, no, it does good for you. It does good. I always tell people that I'm a good worker, bad employee, because I never have any sick time available. I am like, the second I got personal time, sick time, or anything available, I use it. Like, and it's not like for the smallest things. I could wake up and just be like, nah. Like, or I could be playing games with friends or doing something and be like, I don't feel like going to work today. Like, I will skip work as many times and as I can, because I just do not care to be there. But no, like what I would do, which I might change in the future, I would take like a week off from work. But then I would work extra hard on the podcast, or I'd work extra hard on not the podcast, well, like the content that I create, and that kind of stuff would then kind of still wear me out, and it's become kind of like a trope at my job where people are like, oh, Mario, what did you do over your weekend? Or what did you do on your days off? And I'd be like, well, I actually, like, I worked on this and I came up with this new idea and I'm going to try this. And I learned how to do this new editing skill. And they're like, oh, so on your day off, you worked some more. I'm like, yeah.
Totes.
Yep. I put my head down and I just keep doing it. So like this Christmas weekend was, wow, it was nice. It was nice. It was too nice. I wanted it to keep going to the point where I'm like, man, I don't want to edit. I don't want to podcast today. I don't want to edit on Mondays. Like, I don't want to play games on Tuesday. Like, I was like, let's just keep this going. But I also have this like itch of, you do nothing for too long. You want to get back into it, and that's it feels good. It feels good being back into it. I have some crap. My computer updated to Windows 11. And it changed everything. I put it up on stream right now. Everything's changed. No. I keep asking people like, Did your computer update to Windows 11? They're like, well, mine's not like,
oh god, dude,
there yet to update to Windows 11. Like, no one has a new enough computer to be compatible with Windows 11. And
Mario.
Here's the thing, like 2 weeks ago there was an update for Windows, or like 3 weeks ago there was an update for Windows. Updated it. And then the week after that, so 2 weeks ago, there was another update. I was like, weird. Maybe they just messed something up. Updated it. Now I have Windows 11. And it's messed up. That's why my chat's messed up. That's why my stream's messed up right now, because everything got updated.
Just real quick, I have to insert this. I'm looking at your stream right now. That must be what my mom's laptop has. Because my mom, like it's one of those things where like I don't want to say like my mom has senior moments or whatever.
Yeah.
But she'll like ask me questions because the computer is confusing her.
Okay. And
I look at her computer and I see what you are now looking at, and I'm like, yeah, your computer doesn't make sense. You're fucked. like it's one of those things where like you kind of have to explain to your parent like, no, you're not confused. It's just not how it's supposed to be. I'm sorry. Goodbye. Yep. And the fact that like now I know why her computer is stupid. It's because It's Windows 11. Oh my God, your computer. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and like
can you go back?
There is a way to go back. Yeah, if you want to go back, there's a way to go back. You can even see like let me show you.
Oh, that makes so much sense now.
Like look at my windows and stuff like that. Like everything is literally like rounded. There's no corners.
Where's the C drive? That's like my starting point with Windows.
So I always keep my file explorer on the bottom here. So like all this stuff that I have pinned down here is just stuff that like I keep down here, and one of them is my file because I have a bunch of stuff. But like even all this looks different and new, and they got rid of so much stuff.
That's like an Apple thing.
Yeah, dude.
Like that's the way that Apple's layout is.
It looks so much. It confused me so much to where I was trying to organize my clips and stuff like that for the things that were going on, and there's this thing that I would do where I would I'd highlight the whole page, right? Yeah. And I want to move this to a folder, and there's nothing there. The move button, the move this to a folder button is gone.
Like you have to copy and paste it or something?
Basically, yeah. I use the cut. So if you cut something and then the next time you paste it, the last place where it was, it just gets deleted and it puts it in its new place. So that's the function that you use now. So instead of like hitting copy, then you just have like 2 of everything. Like I cut it.
Right.
And I do that kind of thing. And so I was just like, what the oh man.
Is the start menu a thing still?
Yeah. So if I hit the start, this is it. It's this right here. It's just in the middle.
Yeah, you're basically teaching me how to help my mom right now. So
yeah, so the start
menu.
What do you do? And so like what I mean, like and then they even have the search button right here. So then you have all your apps, but you can look for your file explorer.
Okay, so it's just a little Windows.
Right. So then you can look for your files, which then you can go to this PC and you can look up your C drive and things of that nature.
This is riveting for the listeners, by the way. I just realized I was like, fuck the podcast, Mario. Tell me how to help my mother with her weird fucking computer.
Hey man, it wouldn't be the digital round table if we stayed on topic, But dude, like that's awesome. Completely and I was like, I'll just stick with it. But people's complaints...
It's not hugely different.
Right. People's complaints, the number one complaint people have is it's Windows 10, but different. Which you would think, like, oh, that's how most things are. And it's like, well, go back to Windows XP and then go to, Windows... But it's like, this... It really does function the same. I really haven't experienced too much of a different... They've just kind of moved things around. And I've had to relocate, and they for me as a content creator, them changing up the how to like copy and move things, that kind of messed with me a little bit. But it's like they got rid of all the extra buttons. And they're like less buttons. So now I have.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's.
I'm just a huge proponent of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, I mean, but then again, like maybe like if I'm not complaining about something, there might be 100,000 people who are complaining, and so that's why they change it.
Yeah, and I also see it as a how do you say it? It's like a I don't know. It's refreshing. Like it looks newer. It looks sleeker. It's just different. And I because I know it's different. That's what bothers me. It's not so much that it's actually bad, from what I can figure out yet. But it literally is just different. So okay. I was. What the actual heck? So I was. We've been catching up. We've been talking about stuff, and I was in the middle of like a tangent before I went live. I was talking.
Yeah, you were talking about The Witcher season 1 was great, but season 2 was supposed to stick to the books, and Caitlin's read the books, and season 2 was not great.
Yeah, no, I don't recommend season 2. I'm gonna put out reviews this week for what came out. I'm gonna put out for Spider-Man, for Witcher. I feel like there's one more thing. I guess
Hawkeye.
Yes. Did you watch Hawkeye?
And Matrix when you get around to it. This has been a great December for nerds,
dude. It's a good time to be a nerd. It's a good time to be a nerd. That cat should be sleeping with me. Did you already feed him? Did you feed the cat?
Louie, go see mom. Go bug mom, Louie.
Yeah, I don't know why he's in here with me. He messing with my water. He wants my attention for something. He tries to trick us. He literally tries to he'll be like, I haven't been fed, if he knows we weren't witnesses to his feeding.
Right.
So he'll eat all his food really quick, and then he'll
be like, see, I haven't been fed yet.
I haven't been fed, and he's got us a couple of times to feed him.
I mean, good on him. I mean, Don't hate the player, hate the game.
There you go.
Don't hate the cat, hate the litter. That was dumb.
And now it's gonna go on a YouTube short, so
yeah.
Thanks for that. Okay. Did you watch Hawkeye?
Sort of. I have to be honest with you now that I exposed my secret.
You exposed yourself. Now you
watched Hawkeye. However,
can I talk about Hawkeye with you?
No, yes.
Okay.
We can absolutely talk about Hawkeye, but I'm just going to let you know in 2022, I will officially be watching Disney Plus things because it's Christmas time and I got Disney Plus, so fun times.
So hold on. That means in 3 days. Me and you.
I mean, I didn't say. I was
in 3 days. Me and you.
I have to watch Boba Fett now.
Are gonna be watching Boba Fett week by week.
Oh, okay. That'll be my Christmas gift to you.
No, you don't have to do that. The only thing I would have ever asked someone to watch. There's two. Okay. It's the end of the year. Me and Jeff have talked about a lot of things. We're about to talk about some more stuff. I'm gonna ask Jeff this. I'm gonna go ahead and say mine. I've stopped. I used to be this person. I used to be that person where I'd watch something and I'd be like, hey, you should watch this. Hey, you should go and watch this. And that should be the thing that you should watch. And then I stopped doing that. There are two things throughout this whole year that I would tell someone to go watch. Like, I would be like, go watch that. Because what I normally do now is just, oh, have you seen so-and-so? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, I liked it. If you happen to end up watching it, cool. Let's talk about it. But this is I've been bugging people to watch these things. So I have two things that I recommend. And I'm going to recommend everyone here to watch it. So go stop what you're doing after I say this and go watch them. My first one is Arcane. I would literally that's the one thing I would just beg Jeff to go watch. I would be like, Jeff, have you seen Arcane? Please go watch Arcane. That's it. That's all I ever ask is just watch Arcane.
It's so good.
Arcane, and then my second one that I would full-heartedly just be like, go watch this. Tick Tick Boom. Those are probably my two.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah, those are the two things that I would watch. They aren't necessarily my favorite things of this year, right? I would probably say Spider-Man had a big impact on me. That's probably still fresh on me too, so that's probably why I'm saying it. And I really enjoyed probably some other stuff that came out. I really enjoyed Spider-Man. Spider-Man made me cry, but it's not something I wouldn't go out and tell people, oh, you need to go watch Spider-Man, right? That's not something I would tell people to go watch Arcane, and I would tell people to go watch Tick Tick Boom. Those are the two things that I would do.
That warms my heart so much, man.
Oh no, dude, no. Thank you for recommending it. This is another reason why I could never like stop doing this podcast, because I feel like me and you help find stuff for each other. Like that.
Actually, yeah. Both of those, like, that's a good thing. Is like you don't necessarily gravitate towards Tick Tick Boom without me being like, hey bro, like maybe check this out. I don't know. And I don't necessarily pull, like, because I had heard people talking about Arcane, but I didn't pull the trigger until you were like, bro, seriously, Arcane.
Arcane.
What the fuck are you doing? Arcane. And I was like, all right. Like a Mart. But it was also you telling me, like, you don't, like, trust me, you don't have to know the game.
Yeah.
Like of all the video game adaptations, whether it's movies or TV, like whatever, this is the one that actually works if you haven't played the game. And I was like, all right. And it fucking did. It's so good.
It's so freaking good. It is so good. Yeah, those two things were.
That show is stupid good.
Yeah, it's almost. I almost don't want it to have a sequel. I almost want it to be like Firefly in a sense, where it just gets canceled or something, and it's forever perfection. Man. You know, but at the same time, I want more. But
I mean, like you and I already talked about it, but I'll say it again because I love talking about this show, and I'm sure you do as well. But just it's the lyric of the song playing on that final frame, where it's like you see Mel's reaction, and then it zooms out, and you see the missile, and you just hear Sting go, "What could have been?"
Yeah.
And then it touches the glass. Like, you don't see it. It just touches the glass, and then it cuts to credits. And I'm like, you can't do that to me, Netflix. No.
And Netflix, it played me up, because then after that, it gave me Cowboy Bebop and Witcher Season 2.
But it also gave you Tick Tick Boom.
It did give me Tick Tick Boom and Squid Game, so, like, Netflix is just...
Well, the first, 2/3 of Squid... Well, first half of Squid Game. I don't know.
Yeah. The last end of Squid Games didn't do it for me.
Yeah. It gave you 85% of Squid Game.
No, dude, but yeah, like, I was going on a rant. Oh wait, what's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movies that you would be like, you have to go watch this?
For this year?
Yeah, for this year.
For this year, I would say, I would say Spider-Man, but it comes with caveats, because I think it's all well and fine. I mean, we're going to do a whole thing on Spider-Man here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I took 4 pages of notes.
Wait, what?
I'll elaborate on that in just a second. Like, Spider-Man is great. I think you can watch it sight unseen, and like, it's fine because there's some funny parts and bright, pretty colors. But you really do have to have seen, 7 other movies. Or wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you have to have seen 7 other movies to really appreciate it. So Spider-Man's kind of like an asterisk.
It's like 9 other movies. No, you're right. 7. No.
Well, no, because you have to.
You're
have seen,
8.
Yeah, no.
8 movies.
So, Toby 1, 2, 3, Andrew 1, 2. We're spoiling it. Fuck it. And then Holland 1, 2. That's 7. But you also have Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. So that's 10 movies.
That's true.
If you really want to soak up everything, you have to have seen movies before you see it. So it comes with that little asterisk. But if I had to just, like, off the top of my head, like, stuff I would recommend, like, Malignant would be in there. Shang-Chi would be in there. Arcane would be in there, just because I'm like, dude, it's so good. Succession, which we haven't talked about. I would say if you want to get around to watching a show that's just about rich business people doing rich business things, it's really good, dude. I can't really say go into detail because it's just like it's a difficult show to describe because it's like, yeah, like imagine if Disney, like actually, yeah, like that's the show Succession on HBO. Imagine if Disney was just run by fucking like asshole people who craved making more money. And it's just like it's just a media company making deals. I don't know how to describe it. It's so good. Like it's rich business people doing rich business things, but it's really snappy dialogue and great writing, great performances. Yeah, those are like my. I haven't really considered that. Like, what are my?
I
don't do well with end of the
I
year
think
lists.
my top ones would have to be like Spider-Man and Dune. Like my personal favorites, Spider-Man and Dune were that's. I don't know. Maybe Matrix 4 will make that list, but
it won't.
See that yet.
I'm just talking shit. I'm sorry.
You're good. But the ones that I would just recommend to like anyone, like I would just be like, yo, you haven't seen Tick Tick Boom? Go watch it. Go watch it for Andrew Garfield alone. Like,
he's. I'm gonna say it right now. He's one of my favorite actors.
He's really good.
Currently working.
I forgot how good he was.
Yeah. Like, between Tick Tick Boom and his little bit in No Way Home, spoilers, sorry. But also, like, remembering back to, like, The Social Network. It's like, yeah, I think I really like this guy. And, like, No Way Home really solidified it for me, and we'll get into that when we talk about it. But, like, yeah, I'm putting him on my personal list. Like, Andrew Garfield's one of my favorite actors. I really like him.
He is really good. I really loved him as Spider-Man. When he did the Amazing Spider-Man. And Caitlin hasn't seen. I have to sneeze. Oh my gosh.
Do it.
Oh, okay. Woo.
Oh, I muted the microphone.
Yeah, I did. This is part of the reason why I didn't want to record today. Oh man, this is what I was talking about. Like I sneeze, and there's like this. My nose is all tingly, and like the back of my throat is like tingling. Like there's something there, and it makes me just want to just like swallow or something, but nothing's coming from swallowing. So, phrasing, Mario. To wrap up my tangent from earlier.
Yes, The Witcher.
Witcher Season 2 is disappointing because it reminds me of Cowboy Bebop, and what it does is, and I was talking to Jeff about this, was it takes the source material. It promised us that they were going to stay to the source material. That's the first thing that they did, that they messed up in, is they promised us the source material, that they're going to stay true to it, and then they deviated. And I'm like, me and Jeff have had this discussion. I'm okay with deviation. Like, I like it when things are true to the source material. I think the best people that stay true to the source material while still deviating is Marvel. Like, they're just the best at it right now. It's like they make original stuff while, like Hawkeye, for example. Hawkeye is straight from the comic books. They've changed some things. There are things that have changed, but it works. Like, it doesn't hurt people who have read the comic books, and it doesn't hurt the people who haven't read the comic books. And I'm going to say something really dumb. I think whether you deviate from the source material or not, if you just make something good, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that sounds really like, I don't know, egotistical or obnoxious of me or arrogant. But it's like, yeah, just make something good. And you don't have to worry about it. But it's like, Witcher Season 1 worked because they leaned on the source material. If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. They did something creative with it. Season 2 is like, we're gonna change so much, but we're also going to stay true to the source material. And it conflicts. Like, can I talk about spoilers? Can I talk about one thing?
Sure.
Okay. Spoilers. If you haven't seen Witcher 2, just leave. Just go watch it. I'll tell you right now, I don't recommend it. Like, I unfortunately, I think if you know nothing about The Witcher, it's just like Cowboy Bebop. If you saw my Cowboy Bebop review, which you can go watch right now on YouTube, shameless plug right there.
I need to add that to my watch later, since I'm not going to watch the series now.
you'll see kind of like how I felt about that. But okay, so spoilers. There's a character. His name is Vesemir. He's kind of like the father figure to Geralt, and it's huge. Like, everyone kind of loves Vesemir in the gaming community. He's just a grandpa, you know. He's kind of like stereotypical grandpa. He is stubborn. He's a boomer. He's stubborn, but he's loving and he cares about you, but he's in his ways, you know. He's from a different time. And so Vesemir is kind-hearted, strict, and just overall a good dude who regrets the things that he's done in the past, but is always trying to be better for the people in his present. And they took that and they went a little too far with it, which bothered me. Now, if you hadn't seen the show, it kind of works. The problem is, what they did is they made Geralt act like Vesemir, which Geralt Geralt is so good in The Witcher. I think Geralt is like perfect in both season 1, season 2, and I honestly think it's because he's being played by Henry Cavill, and Henry Cavill will fight for the character to say certain things. Like, he will. Who
we should mention is like a huge fan of the source material and the books and the games, and like he goes hard.
Henry,
on the source material.
Henry Cavill is like so.
That much I do know.
He is. Oh my god! Like, Geralt is like. I would say just go watch it for Geralt alone, because he's true to his character. Now, I haven't read the books, so watching these shows is kind of. I don't have as much of a biased opinion as I do with like Cowboy Bebop, something that I love, cherish, and know. So I'm like, we did know what happened over the series. No, like, for me, this is all new. I can't relate. You can talk about the video games, but the video games take place after. The video games are essentially a sequel to the books. So the characters have already gone through their character growth and stuff like that. So it's fun watching them grow. It's fun watching them become who they're supposed to be. So Vesemir, he's old-fashioned, and Geralt and the boys, you know, they're like teenagers apparently. Like, when they go back to Kaer Morhen, they're kind of like, you know, outside of Kaer Morhen, their home, they're like these monster hunters that are stoic and heroic and have to walk on the gray line, and you know, they're not really heroes. They're not really villains. They're not really trying to be anything. They're just trying to do the right thing, but the right thing is never that easy. And that's what makes The Witcher such a freaking amazing, like, just series. And so, but when they go back to Kaer Morhen, it's like their safe place, and they act like teenagers. Like, they'll get drunk together, and they'll pull pranks, and they'll get into things, and it's funny. But Vesemir's just like the dad that's just like, no, stop it. How dare you? That is an ancient relic. You must have respect for things. So the first time we see Vesemir, Geralt is talking about how important it is that Kaer Morhen is hidden, because people used to know where Kaer Morhen was, and they didn't like the monster hunters, and they went and killed a lot of the Witchers. And that, like, now we don't like telling people where Kaer Morhen is, because we don't want that to happen again. And so right after Geralt explains that, which is from the books, which is why Kaer Morhen is hard to get to, why nobody knows where it's at. Vesemir brings strippers and hookers to Kaer Morhen. He's like, I brought it for the boys. Come on, let them have a good time. And Geralt's like, what the hell, dude? And Vesemir's like, just relax, dude. Just relax. Like, what the fuck is happening? And then he wants to freaking... Oh, shit, man. Like, he wants to get more Witchers. Like, he feels... Which is so dumb because Vesemir never wants to put someone through the process of making a Witcher again. And so in the show, he's like, we keep dying off and I want my family back. I want there to be more of us to go out and protect the people. And I'm like, okay, that's not really what Vesemir thinks, but maybe he grows and comes to the conclusion. And then halfway through the series, he has the chance to turn someone, and he's like, oh, I shouldn't do this. He has like flashbacks of how horrible it was. So he's like, I shouldn't do this. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is the Vesemir we know. And then it literally takes someone to be like, shut up, just do it to me. And then he's like, okay, yeah, I want more Witchers. And so he goes to do it. And then Geralt's like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, come on. Like, come on, Geralt, come on. And you're like, who the fuck is this guy? And then you're like, okay, he's good. We get to the last part of the show, the third act of the show, and he's like, my sons are dying. And so he does something atrocious because he wants more Witchers. Again! And then he goes back to the book and he's like, yeah, I never really liked the process of killing things. I was wrong. You were right, Geralt. I'm like, what the fuck?
Wait,
what? What the actual fuck? And that's the show in a nutshell. That's season 2 in a nutshell. It's characters acting one way because the writers...
He thinks that killing is bad, but then he kills a bunch of people, and then he's like, nah, you're right, killing is not the way.
Yeah, basically.
So I'm going to make a comparison to a video game that I really enjoyed, but I see the criticism. That sounds like The Last of Us Part 2. Where it's like, oh, the whole point of the game is violence is wrong, and the cycle of violence will never end unless violent doers just stop doing violence. And it's like, oh, that's a great message in a game where you have just viciously slaughtered hundreds of NPCs to get to where you're going.
Yep. So, yeah, like
okay.
that season 2 Witcher is the show. The writers want one thing, but then they also like are trying to stay true to the source materials. And it's like they didn't read the book, or they read the book, but they thought they could do something cooler. But then they're like, oh, but here's how he acts in the book. And you're like, but he's contradicting himself. Like, don't you see that all these characters, the movie, even the writers know that, like, nobody could follow that plot. Because at the end of, like, almost at like certain points in the show, there is someone explaining the exposition to another character to keep you up to date with going on. I literally only know what's going on because of those exposition moments. I could not tell you if they weren't in there. I would have to rewatch the show, which I wouldn't want to do.
Oh wait,
just to understand what happened. Like, there's like 2 or 3 moments where someone's like, so this is what's going on. We have the people up in the north being upset about stuff, and then we have the people on the south being upset about stuff. And now that things are going. It's not like
narration, though, right?
No, it's just one dude being like, hey, you character that hasn't been on screen, since you haven't been here and the audience doesn't know who you are, let me explain what's going on so that I can get you up to date and so that I can get the audience up to date at the same time. And you're like, okay, I spent 2 minutes. Thank you for summarizing the show for me. I'm still lost, but thank you. and here's the awesome thing. There's a certain point, because I like talking during movies. We haven't really seen a movie together, Jeff, but I'm a talker.
That's true. We should fix that at some point.
We
when
really should.
Omicron is not a thing.
We really should. I'm kind of a talker. I don't know what type of moviegoer you are, and I'm not like, I don't talk throughout the whole movie. Like if I see something, like if we're watching Spider-Man, and I know something because I'm a huge comic book nerd about Spider-Man, I'll lean over and I'll be like, "Hey, that's this is a reference to this during that time." And like, I think they might be alluding to this, and then I'll lean back and I'll go back to watching the movie, right? Or like that's kind of how I am. So if I know someone knows information that I'm not privy to, I'll go over to Caitlin. I'll be like, "So what happens in the books? Like, how does this compare to the books?" And she'll explain it to me. And this is what happened during season 1. And it was really nice having Caitlin there because she was able to explain everything. She's like, "Oh, yeah. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool what they did." At a certain point, they just stop following the books. They just deviate off the books 100%. I was telling Kate, I was like, this is weird. I was like, did any of this happen in the books? And she's, no. She's like, I don't know what's going on.
She's like, nah, I'm good, dog. Nope. I got nothing.
So, Witcher 2. You know? If you know nothing about The Witcher, I don't know, you'll probably enjoy it.
I saw something either today or yesterday of, and again, I don't read articles, I just look at the headlines. But Henry Cavill was like, Henry Cavill hopes season 3 of Witcher stays close to the books.
Yeah.
So it didn't say stay closer, so I didn't know exactly like if there was any preconceived like allusion there in the headline, but it sounds like that's kind of what it was saying, is like season 2 probably veered off, and so he hopes that season 3 kind of gets him back on track.
So Ezio, we got chat speaking up. Ezio, missed you, man, missed you. Hope you had a good holiday. It's good to see you in chat again. It's I felt the same way watching season 2 since I had read the books before. Okay, so yeah, Ezio felt the same way Kate did. He's like, this was not in the book. When I say it completely deviates, Jeff, I'm talking like, what is there, like 8 episodes in the season? Or maybe 9? I'm talking like episode 3.
Like 10 most.
There's like episode 3. There, you're gone. You're no longer on the books. And here's my biggest complaint. I live once more. Yes, the holidays were good. Love that. Good. Glad you had a good holidays. 8 episodes. That sounds about right.
Oh, that's nothing.
But like, and here's something that pisses me off a lot. And I've been going on a tangent, so I apologize. But
you're good, man. You're good.
The freaking they'll announce characters. Like a character will just show up, and you are to know this character because you either played the game or read the books, and that's it. Other than that, that character means nothing to you. They're supposed to be important in the plot, and you don't really care because they don't really do much in the plot. But the show, the show's doing that thing where it like does the zoom in on their face and the big reveal as they come out the door, and they're like, "My name is so and so," and you as the audience member is like, "Who?"
Hey Mario, I'm gonna do a thing to set us up for later. You know what you're describing right now, right? You're describing the MCU in the last couple of weeks.
In the last couple of weeks?
Because both in Spider-Man and in Hawkeye, some people show up, and it's supposed to be a thing, but if you have only watched the MCU, like the MCU, like I don't know the right word, like if you've only watched the MCU, there are certain things that happen in Spider-Man and in Hawkeye that you're like, I don't get it. Is that supposed to mean something?
Here's the thing.
Is that supposed to be important?
Maybe I'm a fanboy, right? Maybe I'm a fanboy, but
Yeah.
I think the MCU does a better job at that. I think they're still guilty of it, but I think they do a better job at presenting those characters.
Right.
The Witcher was literally like, here spoilers. Sorry. I'm full tilt right now. Spoilers. Get out of the I love the viewership, but get out of here. The Witcher was literally, this is Dijkstra. And Dijkstra is such a huge fucking character in the books and in the or at least in the video game. He's such a huge character. And I'm over here being like, ooh, I wonder what Dijkstra does in the books. Like, what's he like in the show? I cannot tell you what Dijkstra's plot line was at all.
Like, because he's not in the books, or he's just not important?
Well, I think he's in the books. I haven't read the books. I don't know. In the video game, he's huge. He's a personality. Like, this guy. And the show plays him off like this guy's important. I have no fucking... the best I can explain Dijkstra in the TV show is he's like one of the spies. He's like Littlefinger from Game of Thrones. Well, no, okay, that's a bad example. He's like the bald guy.
No, I just did that because I knew what you meant.
Yeah. He's like the bald guy or whatever from Game of Thrones. Yeah, it didn't take long
Varys.
to deviate. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Varys, yeah, he's like Varys in a way, but he's more ruthless. And
How do
more,
you spell it? Like,
Dijkstra? I don't even know. DSKJA.
I want to look up who plays him just so I can be like, if he's played by somebody
Dijkstra.
cool, then get on board. But
DYKAJKSTRA. It's. I'm saying stuff right now. And I have no idea what he does. I cannot, because at least in Marvel, in the MCU, I can be like, yeah, I don't know who that character was, but the movie told me he does this, right? Like, I can tell you the plot point.
There's some special sauce sprinkled on top of the character.
Ezio's got you. It's DIJKSTRA. Thank you, chat. But yeah, okay, yeah, that's it. Those are my big. You'll probably hear that again from my in my review.
Oh, dude, it's Graham McTavish. It's he's a big voice actor. That guy's awesome.
Maybe that's why they did the big reveal. Was because
I'm trying to justify, like, no, if it's played by an actor that I like, I instantaneously love it, even if the character sucks.
Well, the character didn't suck. The writing sucked. The actors and actresses did such a good job in this show. It's just the writing for everything was bad. Like, and I'm not even talking about like Cowboy Bebop, the dialogue was horrible. Like, the characters weren't that great in Cowboy Bebop. I got sneeze again.
Bless you.
I didn't like the characters in Cowboy Bebop. In Witcher, I like the characters except for Vesemir, but I don't know what they were doing. He's like, Dijkstra comes on screen. He's like, politics. I'm going to politics. Oh, I saved your life because politics. And you're like, he's talking about politics. I'll just wait 30 minutes and then, there's the exposition guy. Okay, thanks for catching me up to date. That's the show.
That's not how writing works.
No. And here's the funny thing. Both the Cowboy Bebop writer... So the Cowboy Bebop writer went on Twitter and was like, or social media, and was like, well, if you know so much, why don't you go write your own TV show, and why don't you go do it? And
Wait, I'm sorry, repeat that? Who said what now?
Cowboy Bebop writer went on social media and said, if you don't like it, go write your own show.
The the writer of the Netflix series.
Correct. And then Witcher Season 2 writer went and did the same thing. There's even a scene in The Witcher's...
Oh my fucking god, dude.
Yup.
I can do that. Because I'm nobody. Like, but you don't do that. Oh my god, dude.
And like, I was like, what does that say, right? Like, what does that say?
Like, no, because here's the thing. Like, I agree with that sentiment. Like I feel like a lot. I mean, obviously there are people who are just smart and are well versed in like doing their research of how movies are made, who can things that they watch. Like, I don't know if like Marcus, for example, has made a movie. I know for a fact that Adam from Your Movie Sucks has not made a movie. Like, he wants to make a movie. He's written some stuff, but he's never made a movie. Chris Stuckman, another popular YouTuber, he's never made a movie, but his channel is about talking about movies. But like I agree. Like, it's, you want to tell people like, well, fuck you. Like, if you have a problem with this thing, go make your own thing. But that's not what you say when you're the person who does the thing that a bunch of people, like, you don't do that when you're in that position, bro.
No.
Oh, that,
like,
I don't feel good anymore.
Like, I get it. Like, it sucks. I'm a creator. I've had people talk shit about some of the videos I've made. Like, honestly, it's upsetting right now because one of the top comments in my freaking YouTube thing on my when I go to my YouTube dashboard is like someone talking trash on one of my videos, and it pisses me off. And it's like, well, shit, dude. Like, if you didn't like it, move on, right? But it's just one of those things where you gotta kind of, not to compare, not that I'm like some big shot like thing like this, but I just, and I get it, when you have thousands of people shitting on your writing, that's probably hurts. It hurts a lot. But it's one of those things where it's like, this is feedback. Like, this is what you want, right? Like, you should be happy. Like, oh, okay, now I know what not to do. Now I clearly know what not to do, because it's so easy to be surrounded by loved ones that just say everything you do is good.
Oh, it's so great, honey.
Yeah, it's so like,
I'm so proud of you.
I don't even really trust my freaking like Twitch chat, because they love everything that I do. Because I could do something here, post it somewhere else, and then see like the statistics for it and be like, I'm pivoting. I'm not doing that anymore. Because when people have a biased opinion towards you, they're going to support you, and that's not bad. So you just, sometimes that unbiased opinion is just really, really useful in like moving your career forward. So, but yeah, that just tells me that just tells me maybe I should be a little worried for that kind of stuff. Hawkeye. Okay, Hawkeye. You haven't seen Hawkeye, correct?
I have seen most of it. I know the broad strokes.
Okay. So Hawkeye, so good. Holy crap.
I really liked it.
Yeah. Whenever these things come up, whenever like Hawkeye is about to come out, whenever freaking Falcon and Winter Soldier was going to come out, I didn't think I was going to like I honestly thought about just like skipping them, right? Like I kind of watched it because it's my job now to watch these things.
Uh-huh.
And I'm so happy I did. Hawkeye is hitting like Disney's hitting the point. Like, everything they make I like, and I'm not trying. Well, except for Eternals, I could care.
They were focused on Spider-Man, and that's the narrative that I'm building in my head right now. Is that Feige and a lot of other people were super focused on Spider-Man, so they couldn't put their full attention on Eternals.
Like, Eternals wasn't the worst thing ever made, but it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I've seen it once. I'm good.
Yeah, like it's not. I don't know. Like the more I think about it, and every time it comes up with conversation, I like it a little bit less.
No. So, but Marvel, I mean, they're doing what they do. There was, you go back and you look at other Marvel stuff, and you look at, Iron Man was good. Thor wasn't that great. Incredible Hulk was okay. Thor 2 didn't do that great. Like, they have a lot of misses. And it's like they fail, but then they keep going and they keep tweaking it and making things out. It's not everything's gonna be a win. So I really don't like it when people are like, see, it's bad. It's like, dude, shut up. Like, come on.
Everything has hits and misses.
Yeah, and it's like, I respect you if you are someone who doesn't want to watch the Marvel films. Like you have a stance against the corporation and Marvel in general.
Yeah.
But it's like, don't ruin it for other people who are enjoying it. Like, that's like, it's like, we get it. Yeah, we all know Santa Claus isn't real. But like, why are you going around telling kids that? That's
a very good comparison.
Like, yes, I get it. Disney wants my money. I get it. Like, okay, but I'll take this trade-off. Like, it's a symbiotic relationship for me right now. Like, I don't feel morally like guilty giving Disney my money. They're not like going and committing war crimes with it. Like, they're just getting rich off of it. Good for them. Like, they're not doing child labor laws or stuff like that. Maybe they could treat their employees better. But other than that, like, they're not. It's not something. Okay, that's a weird tangent that I didn't mean to go on. Like, I'm just talking off the top of my head. Anyways, Hawkeye's good. I think the reason I'm happy with that is because I know these lower level like shows are not going to get as much respect as I think they deserve. And Hawkeye with Jeremy Renner and God, I need to pull up IMDb. Who's the girl who played as Kate Bishop?
Haley
Steinfeld. She did such a good job.
Academy Award nominee when she was like 12.
She's a good actress. She's a good actress.
Regret?
No, that's something that's on my list. I did see.
She's like 12 or 14 or something like that, and you're just like, "Fuck you, you're 70." The way that she acts, you're just like, "Stop it."
Here's something that I picked up at Hawkeye, though. So obviously Marvel has their formula, but Marvel has a new formula with their TV shows. What they do now. And they might. I'm pretty sure they're going to continue this trend. I don't see them changing this. But what they do is they make it a mystery. It's a mystery thriller. All these Marvel TV shows have all been mystery thrillers where there is a thing that's happening to get you to the last episode. There are cameos and stuff like that. But there's stuff that these characters have to figure out, and along the way, they love each other, they hate each other, and they fight each other, right? Like, it's just, and they've all been set up in that same type of way. It's not just an action film. All of them, I would even go, even the What If series have all been like mystery thrillers. And I think it's such a good way of making these TV shows. I enjoy engaging with the community. I enjoy engaging as the shows are coming out weekly, being like, oh my gosh, like, what do you think it's going to be? And coming up with fan theories and just like the culture that's surrounding it is so fun and so good. However, I think there is an issue with it. Most of them are really good. They have a really good first act, really good second act. But then the third act tends to fall short with a lot of these shows. I think what's it called? Loki had a good third act. I think The Falcon Winter Soldier had a weaker third act. I think WandaVision had a weak third act. I think this show kind of had a weak third act. Like it's the climax, because everything's coming together and you have all these characters and they're all like resolving themselves and they're all figuring out their things all at once, and you feel like you don't get as I don't want to say it's too much, but you feel like you don't get as strong of a resolution from each of these characters, each of these side characters that are resolving their problems as you do for the main characters. And that's my only concern right now. I don't know. I'm pretty sure, they're going to work out how to fix it. And I think Loki worked because there weren't really any side characters. There was just the one group of people that you watched and you followed. But, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, but Hawkeye was good. It's good. I recommend it. Go watch it. I think Hawkeye does something that Jeff has said a long time ago that I'm going to steal. It's going to be a staple in our show. They add that. I think, Jeff, you've changed me as a audience member. I think some of my favorite stuff in movies and TV shows now is literally whenever characters are just talking to each other. Like, it doesn't have to do with the plot. Yeah. It doesn't have to do... There's no great fight action scene. It's just they're getting to know each other and they're just like being their character in this moment. I'm loving that. I love when they're just sitting and doing nothing and talking. It's so fun. It's so fun.
Mm-hmm. Because you're just seeing people be people. Like,
yes.
Dude, I need Florence Pugh to be in everything, I think. Because, like, the thing that I love about, and I'm kind of going off on, like, one aspect of Hawkeye, but the relationship between Yelena and Kate Bishop is so amazing to me. And I'm going to cite one moment. It's in the finale episode. I forget exactly where they are, but they're fighting or whatever. And Kate at one point is like, Yelena, can we just stop this and go get a drink? And Yelena is like, yeah, sure. After I go kill Clint Barton. And it's played, and then like more fighting ensues.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's played a little bit like a joke. Like, oh yeah, sure, we can go get a drink after I kill your boss. Da-da-da. But what I love about Florence Pugh as an actress, and what my belief of the intention of that moment is Yelena is fucking serious. In her mind, she's like, Kate Bishop, I love you. You're fucking great. Like we had macaroni and sriracha at your apartment. Like, we bonded a little bit. Yeah. So you just kind of chill out here. You go sit down for a little bit. I'm gonna go kill Hawkeye, and then we'll come back and have a drink. And like it's those little moments where you're like, fuck, like, yeah, exactly. Like, I want to watch these people just sit down and talk to each other. Like, there's so many layers in that moment where you're like, no, I don't think this is just a joke that the writers threw in there for me to chuckle at. Like, oh yeah, let's have a drink after I kill your friend. Like, no, I think Yelena literally believes she's gonna go kill Clint, and then they're gonna have martinis.
That is like one of the best parts in the show, and you're exactly right. Like, it can come off as a throwaway line, but yeah, that's Yelena. It
tells you so much about her character. It tells you
so freaking much. I'm good to see Darth in the chat, and I love you got to play some Assassin's Creed 2. That is a great game. I see, in my mind, Darth, that's the funny thing. You talk about Ezio. I literally, I refer to him as Ezio. Like, that is his name. That is like his default. Like, even when we're playing Dungeons and Dragons together, I'm like, hey, Ezio. So he's forever dubbed himself as that. Because the show, this is what's great about these TV shows. You get to see more of these characters. And I love that I was a bit disappointed when I first learned that all these side characters were getting TV shows. I was like, man, they deserve movies. And then after seeing the Black Widow movie, I was like, I'm glad these guys are getting TV shows. I still like the Black Widow film. Yeah. Matter of fact, I'll be right back. Let me show you something.
Can I vamp while you're away? Oh, I took the headset off. You can't hear me.
I can hear you. I just can't talk.
No. While you're away, I was just gonna say, Hawkeye is an amazing Black Widow sequel. Again, it's just too bad that Nat is dead and isn't around to like get the proper character development she deserved while she was around. We're just doing all the character development retroactively because this movie this show, like again, like it really lays on and it works because it's Clint dealing with like his shit of like, shit, she sacrificed herself so that I might live. I need to live up to that expectation. But like, this show really does a great job of telling the audience how important Natasha Romanoff was to the story, how impactful Black Widow was to every preceding event that led up to this. And again, same with the Black Widow movie. It's like, that's great. She's dead and she's not around anymore. Good job, Marvel.
You know what's even
I'm not
worse?
completely shitting on it because it works. Like in that scene in the not the finale, but in episode 5 when he's at the memorial.
Yeah.
And he and dude, I'm gonna be a little vulnerable with you right now.
Okay.
I have a weakness for actors whenever their voice cracks.
Oh.
So if an actor is like getting really emotional and their voice cracks, it fucking kills me. And it's like, dude, I don't even know what you're saying right now. Instant tears. Your voice cracked. Like, done. But when he's looking at the memorial and he just goes, I really want to talk to you right now.
Yeah.
Fucking Niagara Falls out of my eyeballs, dude. I was like, fuck, dude. I get it now. Like, I know that you kind of laid this in previous episodes and stuff, but like, oh shit, that's right. Like, he's alive.
Yeah.
And she's not, and he's trying to make her sacrifice mean something. And in that moment, I'm like, wow, this is really good character development for a character who's not here anymore.
It's rough, dude. It's freaking rough, man. But yeah, no, like I mean, like I bought the film. I got it on 4K. So it's not.
Ooh.
Yeah. Mainly it's for Caitlin because
boy.
Caitlin loves this film. And for good reason, right? It's our first female superhero movie. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Like, this is kind of historic in a way. And it's with a character that's been such a great supporting character in the series. But here's the other thing though. Like, you know, you say Natasha's dead, but she's like dead, dude. Like, Disney wants nothing to do with Scarlett Johansson, man. Like, she is.
No, they're back in the business.
Wait, what?
Dude, like they settled. Have we not talked about that?
No,
How did I miss this? A couple of months ago.
Months ago.
After the lawsuit, like that happened. That
How am
went
I
on
so
for a couple
behind?
months. They settled. She got $60 million. Good for her.
Good for her.
And now so this is a movie that so before the whole lawsuit and everything happened, she was producing a Tower of Terror remake for Disney, which is like one of their popular rides at the amusement park. And it was like a Disney Channel original movie in the 90s that Steve Guttenberg starred in. And she was about to produce a remake when the whole like Disney Plus thing happened and she sued them. But that went on for a little while. She settled. She got $60 million. That movie is back on. She's producing, and Taika Waititi is set to direct.
Wow. Well, look at that.
So she and Taika are working together again.
It's a late.
Rabbit. It's great.
Oh, don't do that though. Jojo Rabbit's so good.
It is so good.
It's too
It's
good,
so
man.
heartbreaking.
It's so
perfect.
Freaking. Oh, I love Taika. I watched season 3, 4, 5. I watched the latest season of What We Do in the Shadows, What We Do in the Dark.
I still need to. I'll get there eventually.
I mean,
know.
it's
I
fun.
know.
It's fun. The jokes are getting way more vulgar. Like it's becoming more of like fart jokes and sex jokes more than like relying on other comedy, which kind of bothers me a little bit.
Does it feel like they're trying a little bit?
It feels like they're not trying as much. Now there are things that were really good. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the season. There's like they did something that prolonged, like they had a setup and it went throughout the whole thing. But I don't know. It's getting to the point where I'm like, maybe they should just start getting close to ending it because it doesn't have like the same like charm. You know, they're going through like life crisis and then like in the middle of the life crisis they start talking about like penis sizes, and then it's like this whole divulges into penises.
Life crisis, penis sizes.
Yes.
It rhymes. Lin-Manuel Miranda up in here.
Okay, chat, getting us back on topic. I love the finale. Personally, wasn't climactic as a finale should be, but I guess it matched the vibe of the show. You're bringing up a point that I was going to bring up, Darth. So Hawkeye, yes, it did have a... This was kind of my issue, especially when I was bringing up the other TV shows that have come up, which IMDb is not recommending here. Oh, here it is. With Loki, which I didn't mean to click on. With Loki and Falcon Winter Soldier. Well, Loki had a good one. Falcon Winter Soldier and WandaVision. The endings kind of seem anticlimactic. I think this one... What spoilers? Get out of here! If you don't want to hear spoilers, I love you. Please come back. But we're talking about spoilers. All right.
Steve Rogers is Mephisto.
Dude, motherfucker! Like, you didn't even give him time to get out.
That wasn't even in Hawkeye. I'm spoiling something else. Oh shit!
Oh, he got spoiled on top of spoilers.
Here it goes.
The Wilson Fisk. I thought that was a great addition, especially since they got Vincent, what's his last name?
D'Onofrio.
Vincent D'Onofrio to play Wilson Fisk again, which was like,
Vin Diesel.
Oh my gosh, love it. The only issue I have is I wish he was there more throughout the show. I wish he wasn't just there for the last episode because he shows up to lose, essentially. Which I think does a disservice to his character, but he has this overwhelming threat that's going on, and I think it's for the better. Gotta freshen up. We'll return in a few minutes. All right, yeah, you're probably going to school or something. I think it's for the better because the I'm stuttering a lot and using us and all that other stuff because they did such a good job in like setting up the mystery, setting up the thriller. Because if he was there and the reveal wasn't there, then you're just like, okay, well, how are they going to beat the Kingpin? And I would have liked if they did what they did in Daredevil, because I don't know if you saw the Netflix Daredevil shows.
I saw the first 2 seasons. I wasn't a super fan of season 2. Yeah, but I have not finished.
But I like what they do is like they try to get Wilson Fisk in jail, but they keep failing. He gets out of it, and I wish I could have seen more of that. However, Hawkeye, the premise of Hawkeye is not about that, and I think that it's good that they didn't do that. I think the show is better because they didn't do that. You can fight me on that. I'll meet you outside. The idea of Hawkeye is all about showing the world and the state of the world and where it's at and how like these people fantasize heroes in a way, and it's all revolving around that. And Jeremy Renner, Clint Barton is essentially just a spy. He's not even like, he doesn't even really consider himself like a superhero, right?
He's
just
not
a spy.
interested in being a good guy.
Yeah. And he doesn't consider himself that. He thinks he's a bad guy that's trying to be good in a way. But, you know, he's got Kate Bishop telling him, no, you're a hero. You're my hero. And, you know, he learns, it's him learning that a little bit more, and you know, he doesn't have too much character growth, but he does get past some hurdles in the show. And we're seeing how the society is idealizing these heroes. They're even changing the Statue of Liberty, and they're making Broadway plays called, did you watch the end credit scene? The end credit of the last episode is that Broadway play.
And I was of two minds with that, because on the one hand, I was like, as a musical theater fan, as a fan of Broadway, I was like, fuck yeah. So I'll save that. So on one hand, I was like, awesome, Broadway, I love it, great stuff. As a Marvel fan, and like as a person who loves watching this stuff, I was a little disappointed, because I was like,
yep.
But you didn't set up another thing. There's no, like, there's but what comes after this? I don't get it. I'm confused.
And I think I think they were able to get away with that because the last episode of Hawkeye came out the same week as Spider-Man.
And what can you do after those two end credit sequences? It's like,
right.
Bro,
because
like, we gave you some shit.
Yeah, because they literally at the second end credit of Spider-Man, I think this is the first time they've ever done this. They just drop a trailer for Doctor Strange. It's just a trailer.
It's the second time, and I have a whole spiel on that.
Oh, it's the second time. When was the first time?
The first time.
And the reason I'm telling you what the end credits was, chat, is because like it's already on YouTube. Like it's literally a trailer. Like you don't have to sit through credits now. You're happy. You're welcome.
So the only other time that they have just straight up shown a trailer, like it's technically a teaser because it's a little vague, but it's a trailer. Okay. The only other time they've shown a trailer is at the end of Captain America: The First Avenger, where they dropped the trailer for The Avengers.
Oh, you're right.
Dude,
I remember that.
I have a whole spiel on this, but
do it.
This is only... Well, this goes with our Spider-Man No Way Home, which we're gonna get to at some point. So,
yeah, we're getting to it after Hawkeye. We're almost done with Hawkeye. Like this is becoming a good transition point. I do want to hear your thoughts though about Hawkeye and stuff.
Hawkeye, I enjoyed. I thought it was like really fun. I think again, like just like you were alluding to, the moments where characters are being characters are kind of the best. Yeah. Like I like the moments between Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld. I think their chemistry is amazing. Is like you kind of like I don't get the sense that Hawkeye is done. Like, oh, we're never gonna see Jeremy Renner in a Marvel thing ever again. He has now passed the baton on to Kate Bishop. Like, no. But the chemistry between them feels very natural. I also, one of the other things that I think is kind of fun is
keep talking. I have to use the restroom.
Okay. One of the other things that I think is kind of fun about looking at people's reception of the show is I've seen a lot of Die Hard comparisons, because it's like, oh, it's Christmas time and it's like an action show. So yeah, like Die Hard. One thing I'm going to throw out there, and I'm going to say this very vague, and then I'm going to do a thing. Protagonist thwarts antagonist with clever gadgets during Christmas time. Guys, it's Home Alone. It's not Die Hard, it's Home Alone. I love this show. It definitely, in the finale, it falls into that pitfall that I've talked to Mario about several times. And we kind of alluded to this earlier, which is when Wilson Fisk shows up. It's imposing because it's goddamn Vincent D'Onofrio. Yeah.
Also,
he's an imposing figure.
I love that comparison you just made. I was gonna say Inspector Gadget, but I was like, oh wait, no, that's Home Alone.
But yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio, like, he is an opposing figure, but if you have not had a Netflix subscription in the last couple of years, that technically means nothing to you. And it does kind of fall into that pitfall of, you know, especially when he's like, I control crime around this city, and it's like, wait, who is this guy that we're introducing in the last episode to suddenly be like the big bad? Like, fuck you, bro. Like, I've been spending time with Echo. I've been spending time with Kate's mom. I've been spending time with Jack, who, I don't know, he might be a good guy, he might be a bad guy, I don't know. And it is a little finicky in that, where, like, we're now, because again, like, you know me, I'm the type of fan that doesn't, like, when I see Vincent D'Onofrio, so let's go to the end of episode 5 real quick.
Okay.
When Vincent D'Onofrio shows up as a cell phone picture, like, first of all, that's my first gripe, which is like, that's your big reveal that Kingpin's in the show? It's like a shitty JPEG on a cell phone? Like, come on, dude.
I gotta say what you're gonna say. I got a point to make there as well.
Like, if you're gonna reveal the Kingpin, reveal the Kingpin. Don't just show me like, hey, here's my cell phone that I'm gonna show you real quick. That's the Kingpin, right? And he's like, yeah, that's the Kingpin. Like, it's like, dude, if you're gonna do it, then do it. But again, like, when the Kingpin shows up, it's like, my type of fandom, because again, I like to not get excited over what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
I like to theorize. I like to have ideas in my head. And then as soon as the thing happens while I'm watching it, if it happens, then I'll get excited. So what I mean by that is, going into the finale, which opens on the Kingpin, first of all, like, kudos to them for like, hey, we kind of tease the Kingpin, we might as well just show you the Kingpin right up front. I'm not instantly going into this going, okay, hashtag Netflix continuity confirmed.
Same.
I'm going into this going,
same.
They simply cast Vincent D'Onofrio to play the Kingpin in a Hawkeye series. Like, I'm holding my expectations at bay. Like, it's until he says, like, until I see Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin in an official MCU thing where he says, yeah, I once decapitated a guy with my car door, then I will know it's the Kingpin from the Netflix series, you know?
Speaking of theories, yeah, right. Like, I'm waiting for that confirmation as well. They might retcon some things.
Because even if you think about it, even if all the Netflix stuff is now canon, quote unquote, it's a slightly different variation on the character. It's a little bit campier. Like, so, he's intimidating, but he's not scary. You know?
Well,
I mean, he's wearing that fucking Hawaiian shirt, and he's got the hat, and he's like,
that's straight out of a comic book, actually.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like Netflix, that they weren't doing straight out of the comic book.
Gotcha.
They were kind of doing it a little bit serious. And even, like, he even has that line with Kate's mom at the beginning when he's like, in the spirit of the holiday season, I'm going to give you a moment to reconsider what you are asking. And I'm like, I don't think the Netflix Kingpin would say in the spirit of Christmas. Like, because it's kind of the same guy, but it's a little bit more PG-13.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And I don't know if you can see the stream right now, but there's it's actually...
Are you playing the trailer? We're going to get canceled. Oh, no, you're just showing...
It's actually
okay, yeah, he looks like a Mortal Kombat character.
So if you see right here, it's a Spider-Man comic, and then you see right here, here's another one where Echo is pointing the gun right at his face after it looks like he's doing some sludge, and then right here is actually, so she points the gun at his face, and what happens to him is he gets, so this may be spoilers for season 2 Hawkeye, or this may be spoilers for Echo, but he gets shot and he actually goes blind, and so he ends up a lot more similar to Daredevil, because they both end up kind of being blind. But
we're not so different, you and I.
Okay, so Daredevil, I forgot what I was gonna say. I forgot like what I was gonna say about Daredevil. Oh yeah, this TV show. So the Daredevil Netflix show, the Jessica Jones, and all those other ones, the Punisher, they were never part of the MCU. These guys never part of the MCU. They like to pretend like they were. So whenever something would happen, they would reference it. They'd be like, "Oh, where were you on the Battle of New York?" Well, I was doing this and I was doing that, but they like
what did they refer to the attack on New York? That there was a thing that they like the event or the occurrence or something. They always referred to the attack on New York.
But they always just responded to what was happening in the MCU, but they were never actually like a part of it. So it's cool. I hope. I honestly hope, we get the Punisher back. We get who's the actor that plays the Punisher?
Yeah, it'd be great to see Daredevil, Jessica Jones. It'd
be great to see Jessica Jones. I could
Luke Cage and the Punisher. That's all of them, right? All
yeah,
four?
Yeah.
I'm not miss like
no.
Like when I
nope. Don't think about it. It's
let's
okay.
even go backwards. So there's the Punisher, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Daredevil.
Yep.
That's all of them.
That's it.
I'm not missing anybody.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
Maybe it'd be really cool if they added like some martial arts dude to round out the
well, they got
crew.
Shang-Chi.
Yes, like Shang-Chi. Like and put him in there. Yeah, because yeah.
I mean, there has never been a martial arts superhero in the MCU before Shang-Chi.
Never. I can't even think of one.
Or even tangentially, like
I've
non-MCU.
I've watched all MCU things. Never seen a martial arts one before. Nope.
Yeah. Like all the Netflix shows, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. Yeah, like there's no martial arts.
No martial arts. No. None.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Shang-Chi. Actually, I have the comic book in my closet right now. Shang-Chi, there's a series where how would you rate Hawkeye? How many stars is this? What the fuck? Is this 10 stars?
What are you looking at?
7, 8, 9. IMDb just like
you're trying to rate it.
It just prompted me right now. I didn't even click it. It was like, hey, how would you rate Hawkeye? Well, since we're on the topic, I'd give it an 8. I'll give it an 8. I want to say 7, but I'll give it an 8. Hey, there you go. Are you kidding me? Let me just sign in with Google. Oh my god.
Oh, this is going to be a whole ordeal.
No, there we go. I'm automatically signed in to Google. Boom. My rating is an 8. IMDb's rating is a 7.9. Popularity, I don't know what the 3 means. Oh, it's 3rd. Oh, look, Succession's above it. Witcher's number 1.
Wait. Ugh. See, I hope that you don't look at the fact that Witcher is number 1 and Succession is number 3 as an indictment on how good Succession is. It's really good.
What are these numbers next to it? I feel like it's not.
I don't even know what you're looking at.
Sort by ranking. Oh yeah, Witcher's number 1. Succession's number. That's so weird. I think. Look. Okay. Look. I know I went on like an hour-long tangent about The Witcher. I want more of it. All right, I want more of it. I'm not happy with how it got on, and I'm gonna give it shit because if I don't give it shit, it won't grow. All right. It's number 1. It's got an 8.2 rating. I don't agree with that. I don't know what that rating's coming from.
Seasons 1 and 2 combined, the whole show.
Seasons 1 and 2 combined? Well, I would give it an 8.
The show.
I would give it an 8. If it's the show. If it's the show. If it's just season 2.
Okay, what would you give season 1 and then what would you give season 2 respectively?
I'd give season 1 a solid 8. It gets kind of weak a little bit, and I'd give season 2 like a 6. But I would still give the show like an 8 or a 7. So never mind. This rating is actually on point.
Yeah, it feels like if you would give season 1 an 8 and 2 a 6, then the overall show is like a 7.
Yeah.
If you were to average it.
So okay, well then, what's that? Chat saying, "Oh yeah, season 2 annoyed me so much, but I'd love more." Yeah, of course, we want more. I feel like they're going in the right direction. Also, I know we're about to get on Spider-Man, but like,
I'm so anxious.
Witcher season 2 had an end credit scene that was a fucking trailer for a Witcher spin-off TV show. I've never seen a Netflix.
I'm sorry, what?
I've never seen a Netflix TV show do this before. They had an end credits of a trailer for a Witcher spin-off TV show featuring one of my favorite actresses. Oh my god, which made me so upset. They put.
Wait, who is it?
They put. I'm finding her right now. They put. She's in.
One of my favorite actresses.
Michelle Yeoh.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Freaking Shang-Chi's aunt?
Yeah. She's gonna be freaking like a main character in this Witcher spinoff. And it's like I don't want to watch it because the writers made me mad, and I feel like the writers didn't care about Witcher. They just wanted to get their spinoff, and Netflix is like, "Oh, Witcher's making us so much money. Let's make a spinoff off of it." Which cool. But I have to watch it because Michelle Yeoh, I'm butchering her name, I apologize, is in it.
It's just Yo.
Yo? Okay, Michelle
Like,
Yeoh.
It's Yo, but put a little like E in front of it, like Yo.
Yo. Cool.
Michelle Yo.
Overall, I'd recommend Hawkeye. Sure, it has a weak third act, but it doesn't ruin the show. It doesn't have a weak third act like Squid Game. Squid Game's third act nearly like ruined the show for me. No, we have our critiques, but I'd give Hawkeye. I'd also give Hawkeye like an 8. Oh, I already rated it. Yeah. Hey, I'm consistent. You know I don't just pull this shit out of my ass now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, give it an 8. I recommend go watch it. It's fun. It's nitty gritty. It doesn't deal with like multiverse reality world ending crap. It's kind of just like some.
Why would it though, Mario? Why on earth would you bring up the multiverse?
Because WandaVision and Loki. No other reason.
Touche.
It doesn't deal with that kind of stuff. It's like Winter Soldier and the Falcon, but I think I prefer this one. I like Winter Soldier and Falcon because it talks about it gets a little political, and that's how it is in the comic books. But I like how grounded this one is, and I love how emotional it kind of gets, and I love the characters. The characters were so good and funny and just quirky. Falcon and Winter Soldier were more like I actually, it's almost like Rush Hour, but more like Lethal Weapon. So.
Yeah, it's got that buddy cop kind of chemistry to it.
Right. And then what's Ezio saying? And what if? Yeah. What if had multi-dimensional shenanigans as well? So that's 3 things within the span. Jeff, do you want to rate it? Do you want to recommend it? Buy it all?
I would absolutely recommend Hawkeye. I will say that the one thing that does, and this is just like a nitpicky thing, the one thing that does stick out to me like a sore thumb is some of the CGI definitely feels incomplete, in the sense that like they were probably rushed to like just like finish the shot and like get it out. Like there's a shot where like Kate like fires an arrow at like an enemy vehicle's windshield and it like makes like an ooze.
Oh yeah. And the
like,
purple smoke.
Yeah, like especially in the finale, it's like this is like some like Disney Channel original movie level CGI. And again, or actually maybe not again. I don't know if I've said this on record on this podcast, but like bad CGI does not necessarily mean the artists doing the CGI are bad at their jobs. It just means it's really rushed and they did not have the ample time to finish it and texture it and shade it and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
this is also like
the reason I'm bringing that up is probably that like budget wise, this show was probably not as high a priority as, you know, like Eternals or Spider-Man.
Exactly. And that's the point. I was like, these are TV shows. These are TV shows that look really nice. But I as much as I hate to say this, I feel like kind of what you were saying about Eternals, where like Feige was focused about other things.
Yeah.
I think like Disney and maybe Marvel, because like Disney owns Marvel. I don't know how their money works. I don't know. I'm making this stuff up right now, but I feel like Disney was like, well, we're also working on Book of Boba right now, so let's put our money, you know, in there, and I don't know, but it could just be like they just ran out of time or money to work on a certain shot, and they wanted the finale shots to look good because they got really good CGI, and then they got some CGI that's just like exactly what you said, like a Disney cart, like some Disney stuff. Well, all right. Okay, we both recommend it. Go watch it. Go. If you already left because of spoilers and you came back to see if we're still talking about spoilers, leave again. Just go watch the show. Just leave again.
But also stay, because we're about to talk about the movie that everyone has seen, because it is the first pandemic movie to cross $1 billion.
It is. Holy crap! That's actually a feat right there. I didn't know that. What movie would that be, Jeff? The movie you've been so excited.
The amount of money this movie has made is astonishing, even when you don't consider the pandemic. The movie we are talking about is Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Whew.
We are now
Goosebumps.
2 hours into the stream, 2.5 hours into the conversation between Mario and myself. We would usually be nearing the wrap-up version or the wrap-up section of the conversation at this point, but nay, we have just started. We've only just begun.
We've only just begun.
As Clarence Carpenter would say.
This is true.
But I'm going to just very quickly mention something that I alluded to earlier and you asked me about. I went to go see this movie Thursday night, December 16th. So I saw this the Thursday before the official release date, and I immediately came home. And obviously, like, I think of, like, whenever I see a big movie, I immediately start thinking about you. Because I'm like, well,
babe,
because we'll probably talk. Thanks, babe. Because we'll probably talk about it on the podcast. So I immediately came home, and I was like, I don't want to fuck. Like, this one was so good. It was so monumental to me. I don't want to fuck this up. So I immediately started, like, I just opened a Word document, and I started writing down my thoughts. I was like, this happened, so I like wrote it down, and then I was like, oh yeah, and then there was this thing, so I wrote it down. I ended up writing 4 pages of fucking notes in Microsoft Word about stuff that I was like, this is something that I want to tell Mario about. And then I was like, oh, maybe this is something Mario will bring up. So I want to like talk about this.
You
and like,
did your homework. I wrote nothing.
Yeah, because this was a big one, dude. This was a big one. So that being said, I have some thoughts written down. I will let you spearhead this one, and I'll let you take the lead, because I already know some stuff I want to say, but I'll let you go.
Okay. So Spider-Man: No Way Home. Let me just say, without a shadow of a doubt, like, this movie is something you should go watch. I recommend it. Go watch the film. Go watch the film. What would I rate it? This movie's weird to rate. I'm not gonna rate this movie based on normal movie standards. What makes this movie? This movie is very similar to like Infinity War and Endgame. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, they started doing things where things are now events. Things are now like these social gatherings. We've now accumulated a culture of things. So Spider-Man No Way Home, honestly, in my opinion, I can't. It's a 9. It's a straight up 9. There you go. There's the clip. I forgot to hit the rate button. Boom, rate button. Go if you haven't seen the film already. Go watch it.
Which that means you're like 3% of the world.
Yeah, you're like 3% of the world because this movie's made so many. It's been so viewed and so many billions of dollars. But go check it out. All right, that's the YouTube clip right there for you guys. The TikTok, as the kids say these days, Spider-Man No Way Home is exactly kind of like what I said in that like 30-second interval. It's an event, right? But it's also it's a good fucking movie. The reason I say it's an event is because you have really to. Good. Me and Jeff said this earlier, like 3 hours ago, that you kind of have to watch 10 movies to understand everything that's going on.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah. I also want to bring up another thing. This movie, even though it makes references to the comic books, this is probably one of the first MCU films. I can for sure say it's the first Sony film that really only makes references within its own universe. Most of the references are not comic book references. They're in-universe reference.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Because Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, along with
it's not like, hey, remember when I turned into an actual spider?
Yeah. No, because if you were to compare this to what I consider the best Spider-Man film to date, freaking
The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
How'd you know? Into the Spider-Verse. If you compare it to that,
yeah, dude.
Into the Spider-Verse referenced in-universe stuff, but it also referenced a lot of comic book stuff. This movie references mainly in-universe stuff, which, wow, I can't wait to get into the nitty-gritty about like some of the things that they referenced in here, which I thought was My main thing is the first half of the movie. I watched this movie twice. The first half of the movie is kind of like, it's weird in a way because you're on the second viewing, and it's really hard to watch MCU films like multiple times because they're really good the first time, and then the second time you start to look through it. You're kind of just waiting for the plot to begin. I can say I had kind of the same experience my first time watching. I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen? Because the first act of the film is all the trailers that we saw. It's not until we get to the second act that you start to see new stuff. You start to stop seeing trailers and you start seeing like new things, and then you get into the plot, and then you get into the nitty-gritty, and I'm okay with that. I'm also okay. I thought about you too, Jeff.
Oh, buddy.
The scene where Doctor Strange is like, Scooby-Doo this shit. I was like, that's what Jeff wanted him to say.
No, dude, because he leans into it the second time.
Yeah.
When Zendaya is all like, I know a lot of magical words, including the word please, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, please, Scooby-Doo this shit. Because you can tell that, like, that was the thing where it was probably shit in the script, but then they were like, wait, we need you to say Scooby-Doo this crap because we might want to include this in the trailer. like you there's just something like, oh my god, it's so subtle, but like the way he says shit is like, it doesn't feel like Benedict is I'm talking about him as if I know him and I'm working with him, but it feels like Benedict isn't going like, I'm gonna say shit because this movie's PG-13 punk rock. But it just feels off. Where it's like, yeah, Scooby-Doo this shit. Like, that's the line I'm supposed to say, right? Wait, which version are we doing? Ah, fuck, who cares?
Well, it's funny. I wish I had the clip. There was some time ago where me and Jeff were talking about the Spider-Man trailer, and Jeff was like, man, I just wish, like, Disney, just, come on, I get it, but just say shit. Like, why are you saying crap? Like, I just for once wish Disney would just like take off the gloves. Like, he went on a whole rant about how Doctor Strange should say shit in that scene instead of saying crap.
Well, but one thing I will bring up about Doctor Strange dialogue and trailers is I remember talking to you about the Spider-Man trailer, and in the second trailer that they released, there's a lot of voiceover from Doctor Strange, which if you listen closely, and especially if you're a person who has done a lot of sound editing and sound mixing in your life, Doctor Strange's voiceover sounds really patchy. Like, it sounds like they literally took words from multiple lines of dialogue and strung them together to make sentences. When he talks about, like, they are all from different timelines and we have to send them back. They all died fighting Spider-Man. Like, all those types of lines from the trailer. It sounds really, like, patchy. But you'll notice when you watch the actual film, those types of lines about, like, they all died fighting Spider-Man and we have to go back to our timelines, like, da-da-da, those lines are said by different characters, not Doctor Strange.
Oh.
So that's kind of why they did it in the trailer, is that they wanted to make you think that Doctor Strange was just talking about this because they didn't want to reveal that it's actually the Lizard that says the line or Sandman that says the line. They were trying to hold back the fact that certain characters were saying things. And again, like, I know that I get a little extreme when I talk about my conspiracy theory with Marvel trailers, which is like, I don't care what they show me in trailers. None of that's real until I see the actual movie. Which, you know, to be fair, like, that's like what they showed us in the trailer is the plot of the movie. Like,
yeah.
Multiverse happens.
Well,
all
okay.
These villains come
no.
back. And blah, blah,
okay,
blah, blah.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm gonna take 2 steps back with that because this is a good segue. The plot of the film. I love the plot of this film. This film is Tom Holland Spider-Man origin story. 3 movies in, we're getting an origin story. And you know what? I like it.
It happened to take 3 movies.
I like it. It's not that Marvel...
He's finally Spider-Man.
It's not that Marvel skipped... You know, they just passed over it and they skipped, Uncle Ben's death and stuff like that. It's that it took 3 movies and it, oh, dude, it's so beautiful because everything is a lesson. Those other movies are lessons. And it's not that he learns it within the span of a movie. He learns it within the span of 3 films of what it actually means to be Spider-Man, what it actually means to be a hero. Yeah. And oh my gosh, dude, like, the fact that MCU is doing... Whoa, that scared me. I had a tuft of Louis hair floating, and for a second it looked like a spider dangling. And I have arachnophobia. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, but I do have arachnophobia. I was like, I'm gonna die, like right here, right now, just that second.
Interesting timing.
Yeah. What's chat saying real quick? It had a fair number of good corny moments that made me... Yeah, I'm a sucker for corny film. I know people don't like Marvel humor. I'm a sucker for that kind of humor. I'm a sucker for, like, dad jokes, mom jokes, and...
Everything in this movie is perfect.
Yes.
I've only seen it the one time, and I missed half the dialogue because people were cheering and shit, which we'll get into later.
I saw my film on Friday or Saturday night, so I didn't have the rowdy audience. I did have a decent audience, but usually the opening night, you're gonna have the most rowdy audience members.
So that's something that I want to segue into real quick.
Okay. Hold on before do your thing. Do your thing.
No, you go ahead because I got my shit written down from 2 weeks ago.
Okay. So like basically, this is an origin story for the film. MCU is crazy because they've set up 10 films to do Infinity War, or they set up 10 years to do Infinity War. I'm sorry, they set up 10 years to do Infinity War, and I love that they're doing this. I think, like, I don't think this is something to be upset about. I think this is really good character growth, and it's really interesting to see movies, trilogies, grow in a saga like this, and they're not just like Fast and Furious or kind of like Star Wars, where they're just sequel after sequel after sequel. COVID is spreading like hell. Hey man, hell yeah, brother. Hey, do what you gotta do. Hey, they made billions of dollars. They don't need. Hey man.
There are so many people that are gonna test positive because of this movie.
Yeah.
I'm making light of a really shitty situation, but let's be honest.
Yeah, it's. I don't think people, especially here in the States, there's definitely people that.
Yeah.
They're gonna have problems. I took my safety precautions, but I know other people did not. But yeah, I like that this was a thing. So say your part. We were talking about like movie theater audiences and stuff like that in Rowdy.
Yes. So the whole Rowdy theater experience, I have heard people talk. So I'm going to talk about this like I'm an old curmudgeon-y old man.
Okay.
Because I have heard tell of this type of theater experience where you go in and people cheer when they see their favorite character, and they fucking cheer even louder and yell and throw their hands up and jump out of their seats in excitement when something crazy happens, and it's like a rock concert, or a theme park roller coaster experience. Like, I've heard of all this, and I've seen YouTube videos where
you've never actually experienced one.
No, dude. Even in fucking Endgame, even like, dude, the portal sequence in Endgame. Like when Cap is facing off against a legion of death, and Sam statics into his ear and says, "Hey Cap, on your left," and the portal's open. Like, I literally, I'm not. This is gonna sound so sad, but in my seat, I was like, "Yeah," because nobody was doing anything, but I was trying to prompt everybody. Like, this is the part where we all scream, right? And I went like Saturday afternoon, so obviously people had seen it Thursday night all the way through Friday, but I was like, yeah, what? No, nobody, okay, we're just gonna sit here and watch the movie, okay. And so, but like, I wanted that, and like there was a part of me that was like trying to force that. So, oh my god, dude. So I almost did not see this movie when I wanted to see it. So Thursday, I'm working at Half Price, and I'm like, obviously the movie's coming out tonight. Like, it's technically, the release date is tomorrow, but we all know that the movie starts playing on the Thursday before the Friday that it actually opens.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, because I remember talking to you, and you were like, shit, I don't think I'm going to be able to see it because everything's sold out. And I was experiencing the same thing, where I was like, okay, like all the like big theaters in my era were sold out. But the Texas Theater, which is this little kind of boutique theater in Oak Cliff, which it mainly makes their money by showing like older movies or like art house movies, et cetera, et cetera. They're like a little boutique theater. But every now and then, because, people like to make money, they'll get a big movie, like Interstellar or whatever, or in this case, they get Spider-Man. And I did not know this, but during the pandemic, the Texas Theater actually renovated their second story and added a second screen. So in the like main theater is where they show, their artsy fartsy, oh look at me, I'm a filmmaker shit. But then in the upstairs theaters where they show like mainstream stuff. So I go in there, and one of my, this sucks because one of my coworkers at Half Price, her boyfriend runs the Texas Theater, and her name is Bree. You would really love her. It fucking kills me that you guys don't converse, because all three of us would have lots to talk about and stuff.
Is Bree? Don't I know Bree? Isn't she small? Works.
No, you're thinking of Brianna.
Oh, okay.
This is a person who just started working here this year.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, like you, me, and her, and Gregory, like we would all talk about movies, and it would be great, but oh well. But anyway, So her boyfriend co-runs Texas Theater. They opened this second screen. So I'm like, okay, awesome, cool. I'm gonna go to that theater. And I get there, and I don't know if you've ever been in this position, but like I get there, and it's not reserved seating. So
haven't been to one of those in a minute.
Sucks because I'm solo. So it's not the type of thing where like I have like a bunch of friends around who can like save my seat. So I'm like I get there like 2 hours early because, you know, that's what happens. And I'm like, shit, if I have to, or not 2 hours early, but like, you know, like early enough and it's crowded enough that I'm like, if I have to go take a piss, I'm going to lose my fucking seat. Because if I go away for 5 minutes, like what am I going to do? Like nobody's around. It's also super unventilated. Oof. Like the AC and dude, I'm saying this up top. It's all good in the end. This is not a slight against the Texas Theater, but like I'm burning up and I'm sweating like a fucking madman. Like I take my hoodie off, I like roll my sleeves up, and I'm still sweating like a fucking rapist at a daycare. That's a terrible joke. But like I'm literally at the point where I'm like, I'm sweaty.
Why was that the first thing that came to your mind?
I don't know. But I'm trying to set the scene here that like it's miserable and it's terrible, and I'm on the brink of like I'm just gonna bail. Like I'm gonna go down to the front desk and just be like, can I just get my $13.50 back? I'm gonna go home and go to sleep and just be like, well, people are enjoying Spider-Man, but not me. Oh well. And I'm like, no, you're gonna fight through this. So I do what I do best is that I run to the bar. I just say, give me a Miller Lite. I run back up to my chair, which luckily is still empty because again, there's no reserved seating. It's first come, first serve. And also, this is going to be very important later. I swear to God, this is all going to pay off. I realize I'm rambling right now. So it's in a theater, but it's also the type of thing where they sell more seats and they actually have like movie theater seats for. Oof. So they got to bring out the fold out chairs. That's another thing. Oof. I'm like, okay, and I'm bargaining with myself. I'm like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to sit in a place where I'm sweating my ass off? I'm in a fold out chair and it's Spider-Man. It's going to be 2.5 hours minimum. And so I run downstairs, I buy a Miller Lite, I run back upstairs. Luckily, my seat is still available. I put the Miller Lite in the chair to kind of symbolize someone is here. My hoodie is draped over the back because you know me, I wear hoodies. Yeah. But I took it off because as much as I don't like my fucking gut to hang out, it's hot as balls in here. So I drape it over the back. I'm like, this marks a seat. I run down to the restroom. I'm sure any person can relate to this, but it's that moment where you're like, okay, I'm about to not be able to pee for a long time, and you just like painfully like squeeze and cinch your bladder. You're like, give it, and you're just trying to get every like last drop out. This is all important. I swear to God. I know it sounds disgusting, but this is important. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this, and I run back up, get my seat, and the movie starts. Long story, like it's already been a long story. I don't know why I just said long story short, but the experience I had in that theater, I would not trade for anything in the fucking world, my dude. Easily the best experience I've ever had in the theater.
Yeah, dude.
There are copious amounts of dialogue that I missed in this movie because people were cheering and screaming. I don't care. There is so much about this movie that I did not pick up on because people were cheering that it occurred to me a week later. I'm like, fuck, I need to go see the movie again to like really grasp like certain things. But then psychosomatically, I was like, don't go back to the theater. What are you doing, Jeff? It's not going to be nearly as good as what that was. just watch it when it comes to Disney Plus on your little TV. Because then I could at least rationalize, okay, the movie is smaller. It's on my TV now.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's not as good. You know? Oh my god, dude. I finally, like, I achieved, like, I got platinum on the video game. You know what I'm talking about? I'm like, dude, people were laughing. People were, like, somebody shows up on screen. Dude, fuck it. We're already into spoilers. Like, we talked about Hawkeye and da-da-da.
Spoilers,
When
leave
Matt
if you don't want spoilers.
Okay. If you don't want spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home, 3, 2, 1. A fucking cane stamps into frame, and people lost their shit. And I was like, I missed the first half of what this scene was supposed to be about, but hey, there's Charlie Cox, so yeah, I'm in. Let's go. And the other thing that you have to understand, Mario, I'm gonna kind of take over for just 5 more minutes. Not even just give me 60 more seconds, and I'll tell you exactly. I will sum this up very quickly. I went into this movie very cynical.
Oh.
Because of nostalgia. Because we all know, and again, spoilers, but we all know Andrew and Toby are in this movie. Now, Andrew's a separate thing. I'm gonna set him aside real quick. We all know that Toby's in this movie. Like, we don't know, but we know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But my cynical brain was going, no, Kevin Feige. And I'm going to talk to Kevin Feige, not to Marvel as a company. I'm going to talk to an individual. You don't get to just show me Tobey Maguire and think that that's cool. You got to do something with him. So the fucking, and I'm going to skip forward. We'll circle back.
Good.
And then
Good.
I'll give it back to you. The portal opens and Tobey Maguire steps out.
Yeah.
And everybody in the fucking theater, everybody's on their feet. They're cheering. It's the fucking Cowboys at the Super Bowl, my dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, yeah, great, cool. Wait for it though. That's not good enough. You can't just put Tobey Maguire in the movie and expect me to fall in line. He's got to do something. I'm crying right now. Go fuck you, Mario. I'm crying right now. He didn't even do anything. He just started talking.
Yeah.
He just started talking.
Yeah.
And Peter Parker was on screen again.
Yeah.
That was my boy.
Yeah.
He just started talking. And suddenly I was like, and like so many things started to happen in my brain where I was like, Tobey Maguire, like, he's such a good actor because he so easily slipped back into his 25-year-old self, even though he was playing 18. We all know he was older at the time. But, like...
Dude,
like,
he was so excited
talking.
To be
Oh
Peter
my
Parker and
God.
Spider-Man again. He was so excited. And it's... Andrew Garfield kind of steals the show. He kind of overshadows Tobey Maguire. But that's the thing, is Tobey Maguire is playing Sam Raimi's Peter Parker. He's much more subtle. He's much more, like, down to earth. He's very wise. He's very wise. And they even make a point to show that, like, he's all grown up now. And it's just, Tobey Maguire did such a good job capturing that nostalgia. Capturing, like you're right. He started talking and you're like, that's Peter Parker. That's Peter Parker that I saw in the movie theater. One of my first...
I immediately was in 2002 again.
Yes! One of the first superhero films I ever saw in the theaters was Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. And it's why and how I fell in love with Spider-Man so much. I sat for Spider-Man 2. I sat in the back before you could reserve seats, kids. Look at me, sound like a boomer. I sat in the front 2 rows to watch that film as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I will never forget that. And also, Jeff, I'm so happy you got to experience that. I know the internet there's people on the internet that hate that movie experience. I am one of those people that loves it. I love being part of a crowd that is
Yeah.
just so energetic about the film. I know if you want to avoid those crowds, hot tip, don't go opening night. If you want to see the movie opening night, I mean, it's not going to be that much of a difference. You can wait a day.
Yeah.
You can literally wait a day. you'll get the crowd that you want. But
You just have to stay off the internet for a little bit longer.
a little bit. It's doable. It's doable. If you think you can't do it,
Because
you can
to
do
be
it.
fair,
You can do it.
like legit, you have to stay off the internet. I came home
Yeah.
and like I don't know if you experienced this, but I came home Thursday night, and those scenes were on YouTube.
Yeah. I literally
Every single scene that you're like, oh my god, that scene! Oh my
Well,
god, that scene! It was on YouTube.
I had to stay off the internet till Saturday. And I was
Yeah,
doing
dude.
good, and I was literally streaming Saturday morning. And someone in my chat spoiled it for me.
Wait, what part did they spoil?
They spoiled Matt Murdock.
Okay. See, that was spoiled like super early for me as well. Like there was like a screenshot of Charlie Cox at the table with Marissa
And, like,
Tomei, Tom Holland, and Jon Favreau.
I avoided everything. I was doing so good. I avoided watching any more trailers. I was doing good. And then Saturday morning, the day I'm gonna go watch the film, they're like, my chat's like, did you see Daredevil's and Spider-Man? I was like, fuck you guys.
the way you do that is you ask, "Did you see Spider-Man?"
I literally told them that. I was like, you do not go in somewhere and just start talking about it. You say, hey, this is, and I was like telling them like, hey, and then it became a joke, and then I was like, you don't just show up somewhere and be like, oh wow, you see the bird, you're like, what? Who starts a conversation like that?
It's like that asshole at Barnes and Noble the night that Half-Blood Prince came out, who like drove through the parking lots going, "Snape kills Dumbledore," and it's like, first of all, that's a book. Like, how did you find that so fast, you asshole?
Dude just went to like the last chapter and read it, just sped read it.
Yeah, like fuck, dude, you don't just blatantly scream shit. You like read the room a little bit.
It's people. Learn your manners. If it's on the internet, there's nothing you can do about it. I still think that like the internet, I guess if the movie's out, cool. Like say your spoilers, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like there was something. I can't remember what it was, but there was definitely something where the internet refused to put up spoilers. Like people, there was like this unspoken rule where like nobody was putting up spoilers. And
Maybe Force Awakens?
It was probably Star Wars. It might have been around the time of Star Wars because it was like everyone was just being super nice to each other and was like not putting up that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
No, dude, like I'm so happy you had that experience. Speaking of which, yeah, if you saw the trailers, you saw the first act of the film. And something I want to top on is the film is an origin story for Spider-Man. I know I already said this. I'm being kind of redundant. However, this film is such a huge, like, I remember watching it and I was thinking, what is the lesson that he's gonna learn here? Like, what's a fucking responsibility, dude? This movie hits Spider-Man so much harder with great power comes great responsibility than any other Spider-Man movie before.
Agreed.
Because the whole film is about responsibility. It's not just one scene that helps him transition into Spider-Man. And the fact that we've watched all these other Spider-Man films, including Into the Spider-Verse, and nobody has been saying it. Like Sony has deliberately been holding off saying it. Was like I cried, dude. I cried when we get to the end of the second act and Aunt May dies to Green Goblin. Green Goblin, like Spider-Man's arch nemesis.
Like arch nemesis, yeah.
And the way that, you know, they redid the Green Goblin and, you know, they smashed his helmet because nobody liked his helmet. And
well, no. I think this is one of my big pros for this movie. I think they smashed the helmet because it's like, you got Willem Dafoe have you seen Willem Dafoe's face? Let's get his face in front of the camera instead of hiding him behind this mask.
Willem
Like
Dafoe's
that is
fantastic
one
actor.
thing retroactively that I do look at the Sam Raimi films and I'm like, actually, that's a good point. You got an actor like Willem Dafoe and you're gonna put him behind a mask the whole movie?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And what in chat saying I would replace the specific names with the words, things. Example, did you see the thing about the thing in the movie? Right, you're hiding it. You're hiding it. You're being respectful. Like you're being courteous to the person and their experience because you got to experience something. So yeah. Anyways, Willem Dafoe, and then how they tore up his purple sweatshirt. Hoodie, his purple hoodie, and turned it into like the Green Goblin, like
He looks like
just
the OG
aesthetic.
Goblin.
Oh, he looks so good. But that scene with Aunt May, I tried so hard, like I wasn't trying not to cry, but it was just one of those things where it was like I was welling up, and the tears started streaming, and it was so hard because like. Spider-Man is so relatable.
Yeah.
It's so fucking like with great power comes great responsibility. You don't have to be a superhero to believe in that. Like he didn't fail. You know, he didn't fail at like punching someone. He didn't fail at swinging or catching a bad guy. He just failed at helping people. He lost his patience. He has It's not Spider-Man who had the ability to help these villains. It was Peter Parker.
Oh, yeah.
It was fucking Peter Parker. And like, that's the thing about what Uncle Ben says in the Sam Raimi ones and in the Andrew Garfield one, when he's like, with great power comes great responsibility. He doesn't know that Peter is Spider-Man, but he knows how gifted his nephew is. He knows his nephew is talented and can make a difference. But being talented's not enough.
Dude,
and it's just
made me have a revelation all of a sudden.
It's just so heartbreaking. I'm like, I'm welling up right now. And that's what's so good about the film.
For the next hour. I hope you're ready. Dude, you just made me have a revelation because Cliff Robertson says to Tobey Maguire, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
And Martin Sheen says to, I'm going to paraphrase, but he says to Andrew Garfield, if you have the ability to do something, then you have a moral obligation to do those things.
Uh-huh.
It's like kind of the same thing, but not really. Marissa Tomei tells Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's not Uncle Ben talking to Peter Parker. It's Aunt May talking to Spider-Man. She knows, like, you just gave me a revelation. It's not I'm talking to my nephew. It's I'm talking to my nephew who I also already know is a fucking superhero.
Yeah.
And holy shit, I didn't even think about that aspect of it.
It's
brutal, dude.
It's so like, heartbreaking.
The other thing that fucks me up, and I need to watch it again. I need to watch the whole movie again because it's like we've talked about this a lot, where like you think the scene is going one way and then it goes a different way, and you're like, I don't know how I feel about that. But then when you watch the movie a second time, knowing where it's gonna go, you're like, oh, well, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because the way that scene kind of fucks with you, where you're like as soon as Goblin is like, you know, blah, 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 whatever, and he throws the bomb, and Peter, like, jumps for it, and he tries to knock it out of the way, but it blows up anyway, you're like, Aunt May's dead. Like, done. Like, done deal, clean slate, like, okay, she's dead. But then she, like, is under the rubble, and he, like, picks the rubble up off of her, and she gets up, and she's, like, walking around a little bit, and you're like, wait, I'm confused right now. I totally thought Aunt May was about to, like, it goes up and down.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, I thought she was supposed to be dead, and like da da da. And again, like I don't recall if you and I talked about this, but like based on the trailer, we knew somebody was gonna die.
Yeah.
And so in that moment, I was still kind of up in the air. I was like, well, shit, maybe Aunt May's gonna be okay, and like Happy's gonna die. Or maybe everybody's gonna be okay right now, and once we get to the Statue of Liberty, maybe Ned is gonna die. Because I was like, MJ's not gonna die. Like, they showed that in the trailer. She's not gonna, maybe it's Ned. Because you have that shot of, like, Tom Holland at the beginning of the trailer where it's, like, raining and shit, and the camera, like, comes around him, and he's all serious. And you're like, well, clearly somebody dies in this movie. But yeah, like, that whole scene, and yeah, dude. Fuck, yeah. Like she's the only one who says to Spider-Man, I'm like, it's like, motherfucker, I know what you're capable of. Yeah. So you have it. I'm not just talking in metaphors and in symbolism. You have great power. I know you have great power. Yeah. So you have responsibility, bitch.
You have to. And the thing is like, she works at a soup kitchen, or she volunteers at a soup kitchen or whatever, and you like it sets her up in a way where she has so much more influence, and you can see where the influence is coming from, and you see that Peter Parker is kind of like acting like a teenager. He's acting like a young punk in a way. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, where he's like, this isn't my problem. Like, I'm about to go off to college. Like, I'm thinking about myself. I'm thinking about how I want to do things with my friends. And it's like, we've all fucking been there. We've all been there, where it's like, we have to choose between the things that we want to do and the things that we have to do.
Yeah.
And this is what makes Spider-Man the most popular hero in the world, is because people relate to him so much more than other heroes. Like, I can't relate to Tony Stark. I can't. Like, this is a weird comparison. There's a TV show that I watched with Caitlin. It was called Family Matters. And it's a I know.
I love that show.
And it's a show about a bunch of rich people. It's a show about family, but they're all rich. They all have money. And it's kind of like first world problems kind of things. But you look at the statistics of that show, and majority of the people who watch that show are people who are wealthy, who are above minimum wage. That's their main audience, and they knew that, and they lean towards that as their target audience. With, I can't relate to, like, that's how Iron Man is. Like, I can't relate to being rich and super smart and being able to invent things. I don't know. Like, Peter Parker's kind of that way. Like, he's really smart. He's really good at being chemist, being, in school and stuff like that. But at the same time, he has issues that we all are kind of down to earth with. And I can't relate to being Batman.
Yeah.
Also, get over yourself, Batman. Come on. Like, yeah, you're not the only superhero with dead parents. Look at Spider-Man, all right? Like,
well, and shit, I wish I had written it down so I remember the specifics, but we brought up Uncle Ben 2 hours ago, like early in the conversation. So here's my question to you. And again, like, we can look this up. Maybe Feige confirmed it somewhere. So here's my theory. Here's what I like to believe about Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man. I don't think there ever was an Uncle Ben. I feel like Marissa Tomei's Aunt May was the sister to either Peter's mother or his father. I don't think we know exactly how he's related to her in terms of, like, whose aunt he is or whatever.
I think they mentioned it.
But, because again, there's that scene in Civil War where he's introduced, and he and Tony are talking in his bedroom, and he's recruiting whatever, and he mentions something about, like, everything that May has gone through. Like, there's some statement about that. And I feel like at that moment we're supposed to think Uncle Ben. Like, clearly, because we've seen the Tobey movies, we've seen the Andrew movies, like, well, clearly, like, Uncle Ben died. But, and again, like, this might all be disproven later, but I'm choosing to believe that there was no Uncle Ben in the MCU.
Mm-hmm. And
kind of to what you were saying about how, no, this is Tom Holland's origin story it just happened to take 3 movies instead of 1.
Yeah.
The way that it did with Toby and Andrew. Aunt May is Uncle Ben.
Yeah, she
Like,
holds that role.
It's not like Uncle Ben happened off screen and also Aunt May. Like, I like to believe that, like, kind of what they've been setting up with Tony hitting on Aunt May and Aunt May being, you know, it's fucking Marissa Tomei. Like, she's hot. Like, holy shit. And I like to believe that Aunt May was just kind of single and maybe she dated a little bit here and there, but she never really settled down. And, like, I kind of like to believe that Uncle Ben never really existed. And this is... It's not like he had Uncle Ben off screen and this. No, dude. This is his Uncle Ben moment with Aunt May dying.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with the sentiment behind that. I'm gonna pop your bubble a little bit here. I do think that in Civil War, like, there is kind of like an Uncle Ben reference. I could be wrong. I did just Google it while you were talking. But I think the way I perceived it was the same way you did, but I perceived it as Uncle Ben kind of spoke and shared his wisdom, and Aunt May is like saying the things that he said. You know what I mean? Like, it carried through Aunt May and through Aunt May and him. Because whenever that scene when Toby, when all the Spider-Mans are on top of the school,
Mm-hmm.
they reference Uncle Ben, and there's this like silent agreement, like, we all know who Uncle Ben is, and we all know that
I don't think so, though, because I feel like at that point he'd be like, Uncle Ben? I had an Uncle Ben too.
No, dude, he's not gonna. Come on, dude. He was
Would he?
fucking pissed and emotional, dude. The one thing he said was like, "How'd you know she say that? Like, how'd you know, like, this and that?" And they were like, "Well, Uncle Ben,
Yeah.
right?" And then he would have been like, "Well, who's Uncle Ben?" Like, or like, you know, at the very least, he would have brought it up again. But I'm pretty sure they all had an Uncle Ben. Now, again, I'm not like. We don't know for sure, but I do agree with like the same idea that Aunt May serves as the Uncle Ben in this version of Spider-Man, and I like it and I love it, and I think is it's a fantastic way of doing it. It's a spectacular way of doing it.
Well, no, I will agree with you because one of my kind of nitpicky criticisms.
Okay,
about the
so
movie,
chat saying that the reference was that the briefcase that Peter Parker had Uncle Ben's initials on it.
Yeah, when he's like packing his stuff for Far From Home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like one of my kind of nitpicky things about that rooftop scene, which by the way was the second time I broke down crying in the movie.
Same,
dude.
Same.
First of all, let's just get this out of the way. Cut to, I mean, that whole scene. My God, we'll get to that in a second. But the crying moment specifically, when Tom Holland is trying to recall the words that Aunt May said to him, and he says, "With great power," and then it cuts to Toby. Again, my cynical brain was like, "Go fuck yourself. I know what's about to happen. This is bullshit." Da da da. And then it started to zoom in, and I was like, "No, give it to me, please, please, Daddy. I need it, please, please." And then Tobey Maguire says, "Comes great responsibility." Fuck! Oh my God, dude! Just so many tears came pouring out of my face. But the one kind of, again, like just from an editing standpoint, it's like nothing changes about the scene. It's just a little thing that I thought was kind of weird. Is if you think about the order of moments in that scene. Andrew says, wait, shit, hold on. I'm listening to Spotify. I need to stop Spotify. So it felt weird to me that. Wait, what happens?
Andrew brings up MJ or Gwen Stacy.
Okay, so they both show up, and Tom Holland is like, "Wait, who are those guys?" And it's like, "Nah, it's Peters." And Andrew is like, "I think I might know how you feel." And
where he
Tom
talks
Holland
about
is
pulling
like,
his punches. He stopped pulling his punches.
It's the Uncle Ben of it all, because. Yes. Okay. So here's the order that happens, and this is where so it works, but there's also a little dangling participle that's kind of weird. So Tom Holland is like, my Aunt May, she meant everything to me, or whatever the fuck he says, and then Toby. So here's the thing. From now on, this is a rule I'm throwing down for the remainder of the conversation. We're going to refer to the actors. Because we've already spoiled the fact that like Toby and Andrew are in this movie. Because if we say Peter, that applies to all three of them. So we're going to refer to them as their actor names so that we know who we're talking about. So Toby says, I lost somebody too. My Uncle Ben. And for a split second, you think he's about to like go into like a monologue. But then the direction reverts to Andrew Garfield, and he goes, I lost Gwen. And he does his whole spiel about Gwen, I was gonna save her, but I failed, and then I stopped pulling my punches, I got bitter, and I got rageful, and like da-da-da-da, and he does this whole monologue about Gwen. And then it goes back to Toby, and he's like, yeah, my Uncle Ben, and blah, 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 blah. Which to me felt kind of weird, because it's just editing wise, it feels like Toby is about to start saying something. He's like, hey, so I would like to tell you about my Uncle Ben. And then Andrew was like, hold on a second, I'm going to tell you about Gwen. Blah, 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 blah. Gwen, blah, 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 and I got rageful and bitter. I stopped pulling my punches. And then Toby is like, okay, cool. So anyway, about my Uncle Ben, it like literally all you have to do is just start with Andrew.
See,
I'm
I don't know. I read it
from an editing perspective. Don't let Toby say that first line. Just start with Andrew.
Okay, I saw
and
it.
Then segue into Toby.
I didn't see it that way. I saw it as like, I think I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this part, because like the way I watched it was that they're all okay. So they're walking on eggshells because Tom Holland is pissed. Tom Holland's he's very raw right now, and Tobey Maguire begins to speak, but it's hard for him to bring it up as well. And so he's not only speaking, but he's also understanding how Tom Holland feels, because it's how he feels. And so he's being careful with his word choice, because he's an older man. He's kind of turned into Uncle Ben in a sense, and he's thinking about his words, and he hesitates, and he gives it a second, but he puts it out there. And in that hesitation,
you have sold me instantly.
in that hesitation, Andrew steps in to help out, and Andrew tells his part, which then Tom is like, okay, I see what you're like. Tom is beginning to relax a little bit, and then Toby then like supports.
And you have sold me instantly. I say that because also Andrew, and I'm going to say this as a person who fucking loves Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
First and foremost, we established that.
Oh yeah, we
Two, I love The Amazing Spider-Man. I still haven't seen Amazing Spider-Man 2. I've seen the Gwen Stacy scene, obviously. But the thing we know about Andrew Garfield's version of Peter Parker is that he's the emo one. He's the one who's going to be like, oh, you want to listen to me talk about my feelings? Here are all of my feelings. You know, so that makes sense. And he would be like, yeah, you want to hear about some fucked up stuff I did that made me really hate myself? Yeah. I would love to tell you about some stuff I did that made me hate myself. You know, like that vibe.
I agree.
Sense.
Because they're doing such a great job at playing their roles, and it's kind of what we alluded to earlier. It's Andrew Garfield does seem to like he overshadows Tobey Maguire a little bit, but Tobey Maguire is playing his Peter Parker to the T. He's playing Sam Raimi's version of Peter Parker.
He is Uncle Ben for all intents and purposes.
He really is.
Point.
He's grown. I mean, that's what Doc Ock says. He's like, you're all grown up, you know? And it's...
Yeah.
So we're going to rewind a little bit. Like, you know, because we talked about that. We both got a little misty-eyed there for a second. And the plot, you know, we get to the second act. We end the first act with Spider-Man trapping Doctor Strange. I love how he beats Doctor Strange, too. It's like, geometry?
You know what's cooler than magic?
Math!
So cool.
He does the thing, and even if they're fighting, you know, Doctor Strange, I'm such a sucker for corny humor. He takes off the ring, and he's like, ow. Like,
I will say, just to throw it out there, Doctor Strange is a little bit nerfed for the sake of this movie.
Dude, he held back so much.
I'm okay with it, because it's fun, it's entertaining, like, whatever, but, like, motherfucker is supposed to be, like, the Sorcerer Supreme. Obviously, he's not anymore, because he was blipped, and now Wong is, you know, technicality.
Well, it's just
like,
a title. But
like, there is a little bit where you're just like, okay, it's silly, haha, I get it. And then I'm assuming once we get into Multiverse of Madness, it's like, oh, Doctor Strange is all powerful again.
No way. Well, I mean, you're being a bit cynical about that. In no way. Yeah. You have to understand, like, the character Doctor Strange isn't gonna destroy Peter Parker. Like, he actually, I mean, he has feelings for the kid. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like we've seen Doctor Strange take on Thanos with 3 Infinity things 1v1. He was the only superhero to 1v1 other than Captain Marvel, who, like, they literally don't know what to do with Doctor Strange. They keep writing him in positions where he's stuck having to hold up the world on his back.
He's got to stop the waterfall.
He's got to stop the waterfall, and he's got to keep the dimensions from breaking apart in No Way Home. They keep putting him in these positions because literally Doctor Strange is so powerful. He can snap his fingers, pun intended, and just make someone disappear.
He's like the most offensive support class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They keep putting him as that. He could do so. It's just ridiculous how strong Doctor Strange is. But you know, I do see where that's coming from, though. Like, I do see where people are like, "Oh, why is Doctor?" I would hate that. Like, that would bother me so much when people are like, "Well, Spider-Man beat Doctor Strange, and why is Doctor Strange so weak?" It's like, dude, come on. Like, the guy obviously cares for the kid enough that he's willing to brainwash the entire world for the kid. Like, you think he's gonna slap him around just to get what he wants? Like, in Doctor Strange's head, he's so powerful that if Spider-Man messes up, which he does, he can come up with a solution in less than, like, fucking 3 hours. Or in less than 12 hours. He has a solution to fix the problem Peter Parker made. And he gives him a scolding, and then he literally presses a button, and everything goes back to normal. Like, that's how powerful Doctor Strange is. And I think people don't realize that this kid literally fucked up the multiverse, and Doctor Strange is like, all right, give me 12 hours. Go Scooby-Doo this shit. Give me 12 hours. All right, I fixed your problem. Like, what the fuck? It just gets
See, I like your take on it, because I've seen a lot of people, like, criticize the initial spell casting moment, where he starts doing the spell and he's like, all right, everyone in the world is about to forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And then, of course, Peter is like, wait, MJ should know, Ned should know, blah, blah, blah. And people have been criticizing, like, Doctor Strange, you probably should have sat the kid down beforehand and been like, hey, kid, just so you know, here are the parameters of the spell and blah, 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 blah. Which, to a certain extent, I can agree with. It's like, bro, if you're about to do mind-altering magic, like, at the request of a teenager, you might want to sit the kid down and be like, okay, bro, just so you know, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to do a thing, and then here's what's going to happen.
monkey's paw. Maybe this happens. Maybe this happens. I don't know. Like, you sure you want to do this? I don't know. I'm a full grown motherfucking adult, and you're a teenager. You still want to go? And I get that, but you saying what you just said,
Yeah.
I'm kind of on Dr. Strange's side, which is like, bitch. And you know what? It's the holy shit. It's Sam Jackson in Far From Home. Like, bitch, you've been to space. Like, motherfucker, you're not a teenager anymore.
Yeah, like
I get it, and that also leads into I'm gonna quick tangent and then immediately circle back. Like,
you're good.
The whole like crux of like the dramatic core of this movie. The reason this movie kicks off is
I think you're getting
me
to the
and my
point that I'm
friends didn't get into college.
Oh, yeah.
And as a high schooler, I get it. Where I am now, I'm like, okay.
Right.
Oh, I didn't get into MIT. Okay. Continue being an Avenger? Because clearly you're doing fine? Like, the fuck are you complaining about?
Oh, no, I didn't get into MIT. You're right. You're right.
And
It's
I
such...
don't mean to rip apart the whole franchise, the whole thing, which I'm going to do in a different way in a second. But, like...
20 minutes, by the way.
Okay. Like, I'm sorry. And I get it. But no. And it's a movie, but no.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of where I am with it. And so blanket statement, what I want to say about this movie, and we'll circumvent, there's a lot of nitpicky shit that I think makes the movie kind of fall apart in ways.
I disagree.
But I don't give a fuck because I cried. I was moved. Like, so much of this movie is so fucking cool and so good that even though I can nitpick little things, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't care.
No, here's like that's the thing. You make a good movie, you make something good. Like, no one cares about the quote unquote plot holes, right? Because it works. Because it freaking works. Like, you felt something. You were there. And this movie's an event. And I've heard and listened to people talk about the plot holes. And like for me, exactly what you said, Jeff. I don't care. Like, I had a good time watching this film. I watched this film twice. I had a good time watching it twice. I think when it comes to nitpicky, there's like, and I think me and you have talked about this, Jeff. Like, there's criticism, like, and this is how me and you talk about movies. Like, we'll critique certain points about a film, and then there's nitpicking, where it's like, it doesn't really affect the film because it makes the film work. The weirdly, as horrible as it sounds, the plot holes make the film work, and if they and you can nitpick it, but if you take it out, if you actually try to critique the plot holes, you're gonna ruin the film. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna make the film worse for what it is. And I think that's you bring up such a fantastic point that I have to agree with you on. Like, I literally do. And chat is saying, well, he did mostly cuss. He wanted Ned and MJ to get into MIT at least. Yeah. He was trying to be selfless about it. He wanted Ned and MJ to get into MIT. And he felt bad that he was hurt. He felt responsible for hurting other people's lives that he felt like they did just for knowing him, which is a huge, like, and that's taking reference from, Civil War in the comic books where Peter Parker shows his identity and it has consequences, and it, funny enough, leads to Aunt May dying in that comic book series. And so, like, this is what I was saying earlier in this same podcast, that Marvel does such a great job changing the source material, but still staying true to the source material. Whereas if you just make a good film, if you just make a good thing, it doesn't matter how much you change because people are gonna like it. I'm gonna pick up on the plot holes because I feel like this is something that people on the internet and people even at my job brought up that I didn't really have a chance. So this is my show, my channel. I'm gonna say what I want, and everyone's gonna have to deal with it. So the plot holes. First off, there's people. I'm gonna be brief about it because we are getting short on time, and there's still some things I want to talk about with you, Jeff.
We're gonna keep going even when the stream stops. Because
when the
3 pages of notes left. I've been deleting as we go.
I've been deleting as we go. We'll do a keep going. We'll do a keep going. It'll be longer on YouTube. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, you hit the 5-hour mark. Go to YouTube. Past the 3 hour, I said 5-hour mark, and you hit the 3-hour mark. Thank you for listening to the 3-hour long podcast. 2, you can head over to YouTube and see the extended version. Like and subscribe the channel for more stuff. Shameless plug. Anyways, the plot holes being that Peter Parker, if he gets erased from everyone's brain, what happens to his birth certificate? What happens to the videos that the Daily Bugle, his social security numbers? And I'm like, magic. Like, it's magic. Like, whatever conveniently works for him, the magic will figure out. Like, if that bothers you,
see,
let me use that same logic on you and say, oh, why of all the Spider-Mans that they pulled from, it was only Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield? Why didn't I get Miles Morales? Why didn't I get freaking the guy from New Girl? Why didn't I get
if you're exploring the multiverse, why didn't 100 fucking Peter Parkers
It's like
they explain that at the end when Doctor Strange is like, they're coming through, I can't stop them, and you see, there's everyone else.
Right. And it's like you can't use, this is my problem with people that look for plot holes, right? I like looking for plot holes. I enjoy it. The people that harp on certain plot holes, this is a personal issue of mine. My issue is, you could just as easily find an answer for your plot hole that you took to take it apart. And if you, they don't use the same logic throughout the entire film. They just use it for certain parts of the film that they feel like bothered them. It's like in the comic books, there's a superhero named Sentry. He's basically the Superman of Marvel. Stupid powerful. But he has a mental breakdown. He can't be a superhero anymore, and he asks Doctor Strange for everyone to forget his memory. And there's stuff out there that still is about him. Like, even Peter Parker got a photo of him and won a Poulter Peace Prize, whatever, for getting a photo of Sentry. But he doesn't remember getting the prize. He has the trophy or whatever he has the certificate in his apartment. But it's like anytime he looks at it, the spell activates, and he's like, oh, I'm not supposed to remember this. And he just forgets. That's it. You do not... the movie doesn't need to explain that to me as an audience member. I am told that people will forget Spider-Man. That's it. That's it. People will forget Spider-Man. You, as an audience member, can come up with creative ways of how he forgets Spider-Man. If you want to poke holes in the film, by all means, go for it. Have fun doing that. Yeah. But you can also come up with creative ways to fix. It's fucking magic. They literally can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah. Well, and so first of all the stuff with wait a minute, what happens to his birth certificate? What happens to his driver's license? What happens to his social security? All that, I, for the time being, put on the back burner because that might be addressed later on.
Right.
It's the same thing in Endgame when Hulk does the snap and suddenly people are like, well, what about people in planes? What about people on cruise ships? Are they suddenly are they just lost in the ocean? People on planes, when they're snapped back, but the plane isn't there anymore.
Also,
it's 5 years later.
We forgot to mention that scene with Yelena was the first time we saw someone's perspective with them getting snapped.
No, but that's exactly my point. Is Hulk snaps in 2019. And so in April, I think is when the movie came out. April or May of 2019 is when that moment happens. and I'm talking about real time for people who watch movies, in December of 2021, we're still visiting that scenario of what happened during the snap, what happened during the blip. Because the snap is when, Thanos snapped and everybody died, quote unquote. And then the blip is when Hulk snapped and everybody came back. Like, we're still dealing with that. Because if you remember, in 2019 when Endgame came out, people were looking at the snap and they were immediately trying to poke holes in it. Like, oh, what happened about this people? What about this? Da, 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 da. And it's like, yeah, we're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
Like, even in Falcon and Winter Soldier, it's like fucking, Sam is trying to get a loan and he can't because he has no employment record for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
That's a fucked up way to deal with the snap or with the blip or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Right.
Like that's the way that I look at Spider-Man No Way Home as well. It's like,
we'll get to it.
If you like him having a social, all the stuff that's happening, maybe they'll get to that. Maybe they won't. And that actually is a plot hole. And maybe you're right. All the people who want to fucking nitpick and be all
I still don't see it as a plot hole. Like, it doesn't. One,
exactly.
He's still.
It's one thing to. So here's the thing. There are some, and maybe we'll get into this, but there are some things about this movie that I could nitpick. It doesn't ruin the fucking movie for me.
Right.
Like, I can identify it and I can be like, that doesn't make sense. I don't give a shit. And I feel like that's the difference in terms of certain people who watch a movie where they're like, oh, well, actually, if you pay attention to this, it's fucking stupid and the movie's fucking stupid. And I'm like, actually, you're right. The thing is fucking stupid, but the movie still kicks ass and I had a great time, so go fuck yourself.
Right. It's it's like, why are you going to focus on this one thing? Why can you not just does that one thing really ruin the whole film for you? Like, you're telling me the Social Security is bothering you that much, but you're okay with nanotechnology? Like, he's not even using nanotechnology correctly. Like, does no one else, does that not that's always bothered me, that movies never use nanotechnology correctly. And yet,
they're little
robots. It's like, no one cares that these extra 4 spider limbs coming out of his iron suit just literally kind of materialize out of nowhere. Like, no, that doesn't bother you, but all this other stuff it doesn't bother you that Tony Stark turns his sweatshirt into an Iron Man, into literal metal, but you're like,
oh, it's coming out of the arc reactor.
You're it's like, these things, the things that people focus on, I'm like, apply that logic to the entire movie and you won't, why are you even watching these films? That's what bothers me. It's like, they don't hold their logic to everything. You know what I'm saying? And that's my personal pet peeve.
You're talking about the people that have gripes.
Yeah, I'm talking about people that have gripes, because then you're saying the people that say the movie has issues because of that. I think everyone sees the plot holes and everyone acknowledges them, but they're just like, who cares? It was a good film. And then the people that are like, the film sucks because of blah blah blah. Like, shut up. Go watch another film. Watch a film that actually doesn't have plot holes then.
To be fair, though,
you're gonna be fair to these people? How dare you?
Well, no. I love you, buddy. I love you so much. And you might not agree about this, but something that Gregory and I have been talking about at work is we do this game of picking apart and finding plot holes and and again, I hate to, you know what? No, I'm not going to say that, because it involves kicking one while they're down in order to raise another, and I don't want to do that.
That's big.
So never mind. I don't want to talk shit about one thing just to show how amazing another thing is.
So speed round. Jeff. Speed round. We're gonna speed round through this. We got 5 minutes.
What?
Yeah, we got 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes for the podcast, people. Speed round through this with me. I love the part where Spider-Man is trying to rehabilitate the villains. They're all in the apartment. What do you mean which one? They're all in the apartment.
Spider-Man?
Shut the fuck up! I said we have 5 minutes. Come on, dude. They're all in the apartment, and he's trying to rehabilitate them, and they all make references, and they kind of pair up each villain. I love getting to see. It's what we talked about with Hawkeye. Is whenever we just get to see them be people. We get to see Norman Osborn talk to Dr. Octavius. We get to see... Also, in my mind, this is me personally, they had... Was it Jamie Foxx? I liked the direction they were going with Electro. Mm-hmm. It made me feel like they were making him like another Killmonger. I prefer this direction, but I don't know. I got Killmonger vibes from it. That was great. That scene. Your thoughts?
On that scene or overall scene? Are we doing?
Just give me your thoughts. We got 4 minutes.
So, I loved that. One of my favorite moments was Jamie Foxx. Was when he was standing there and he was like, "Wait, we're not going to talk about the fact that I'm butt ass naked." I thought that was really funny. One of my other favorite moments was when Peter goes into high school and all of his teachers are like, "Hey, man, you're cool now." But Hannibal Buress, who plays the gym teacher, he's one of my favorite stand-up comedians. He's amazing. I love the fact that he was anti-Peter Parker, and he was like, Mysterio was right. We all know what you did. That was really fucking funny.
That was a good one.
I loved that Willem Dafoe was a fucking badass in the hallway fight after the apartment.
My
when
gosh.
like Tom Holland is just like beating the shit out of him, and he's just smiling. He's
laughing.
Like, hit me.
There's
hit me.
Someone made a good point about that. Sam Aaron, Screen Rant. Go check him out. I always reference him. He made a good point in saying how each movie Spider-Man's dealing with a different type of villain. In the first one, he had a villain. He had a person who didn't want to be a villain. He was a reluctant villain, but he would do what he had to do. So we had the Vulture who would kill him if he got in the way because he has to do this. In the second film, we had a villain that was egotistical, that would do anything to have his way, that was okay with what he was doing, and if anyone got in his way, he would kill him. And now in the third film, we have a villain who will literally have fun killing people, who will kill people just for fun.
Right.
And so that was interesting. The final act where they're fighting at the Statue of Liberty, I love the meta jokes that they made with the Spider-Mans. I love how Toby was talking to Andrew and was like, "You're amazing. You're amazing." He's like, "Thanks, man. I just needed to hear." I was like, that's so meta because everyone shits on the Amazing Spider-Man, and Toby's over here calling the Amazing Spider-Man amazing, and he's like, "Yeah, I just needed to hear that." And then when they mix up their communication, and Andrew Garfield's like, "I'm Spider-Man too." What?
No, when they're like rallying, he's like, "All right, you're Peter 1, you're Peter 2," and Andrew Garfield just goes, "Yeah, Peter number 3." That's my favorite moment of the whole movie.
Peter number. Well, like right before that, where he's like, "I thought you were Peter number 2. No, I thought you were Peter." And then Andrew Garfield's like, "Oh, I'm Peter 2." Like that revelation because he's the second Spider-Man film.
Okay.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, these guys don't stop." And another moment two moments that nearly made me cry. We're going to touch on this. I'm going to let you have your final thoughts. You're going to have about 2 minutes or 1 minute to say them. When Andrew Garfield redeemed himself.
Okay, you say what you're going to say and then I'll go.
Andrew Garfield redeemed himself, saving MJ. I needed that. I mean, I knew it was going to happen. I predicted it. Me and you talked about it. We predicted it. And then my friend Ivy, who I think is in chat right now, he said this, and I agree with him. Peter Parker's going to kill the Green Goblin, something Peter would do. And Tom Holland is going to kill the Green Goblin, something Peter would do. And then Tobey Maguire stops him and says nothing. Says just nothing.
Academy Award.
fucking nothing. And then
that's not even hyperbole. Give Tobey Maguire an Academy Award.
give it to him.
He doesn't do anything. He just looks at him.
He just looks at him, and there's this understanding. He gets stabbed. One of my favorite parts is that they just laugh it off. He's just like, yeah, I've been stabbed before. Like,
I wish he hadn't got stabbed for that exact reason, but yeah.
I liked it. All right, say your piece. You got like a minute.
Yeah, the reason when I was talking about my experience at the Texas Theater, they oversold tickets, and I was sitting in a chair, like one of those metal fold-out chairs. That's why it was important for me to add that detail. When he when she falls, and then the goblin knocks Tom Holland out of the way, and it cuts to the close-up of Andrew Garfield's face, I fell out of my fucking chair. Because I knew it was going to happen. Like, when I saw the trailer, I knew it was going to happen. But then I convinced myself, that's way too cool. There's no way. It's too cool. They're not going to do that. But then when you cut to Andrew Garfield's face going,
30 seconds.
No! It happened, and I fell out of my fucking chair. It's the greatest experience I've ever had in a movie.
I love that you had that experience. Thank you, podcast listeners, for listening to this. Sorry that we ran out of time. Me and Jeff had just a lot of stuff to talk about. If you want an extended version of the Spider-Man conversation, go to YouTube at Digital Hero 101. Let us know what you think. Until next time, play nice. Holy crap.
That's what happens when you want to talk about a bunch of TV shows and a bunch of movies all at once.
Holy crap, we somehow fit that in 3 hours. We're still live, by the way, but
I'm ready to keep going just a little bit.
Holy shit.
maybe.
Sorry to steamroll you like that, but I was like, dude, we gotta go. Wow. Yeah, dude.
It's all good, man.
Oh my gosh. No. You fell out of your seat.
So to put it into perspective,
You keep talking. I'm gonna go feed my cat.
Okay, because you and I think we talked about the Andrew redeeming himself moment, all that good stuff. Sorry, I'm switching from phone back to computer real quick, and we're on the computer. But I had kind of convinced myself, as I just alluded to, that's way too cool. Like, there's no... Because in my brain, I was like, what does that have to do with the Tom Holland character? Like, if Andrew Peter jumps in and saves MJ, what does that have to do with Tom Holland's character? And how does that propel his character forward? But I think they handled it really well in the narrative of what they were doing. Because, Andrew and Toby did not show up to just straight up be cameos and go like, hey, look at us. We were in the other movies. They actually influenced the story. And they actually added to the character development of the Tom Holland Peter Parker. So when that moment started happening, it was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like me and my coworkers fucking joked about this, and it's actually happening. Because again, the other thing which we haven't talked about, which is nothing to talk about. It's nothing. It is my crazy theory, which I knew was never gonna go anywhere. It was just fucking stupid. It was like, the. And the Fantastic Four showing up, and Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider showing up, and Ben Affleck Daredevil showing up, and all this shit. I was like, that's not gonna happen. That's ridiculous. But like for the first, because again, I'm one of those people that I don't take pride in predicting things. Like I like to be the person who's like, okay, cool. Like the thing happened, and I watched it happen, and that's great. I'm not the type of person who's like, oh shit, dude, I totally predicted that. Or like, oh, I fucking called it. Like that, like, to be honest, that kind of turns me off when people are like, oh, dude, I totally, like when you watch a TV show that's 10 episodes long, and in episode 2, somebody's like, oh, I predict that like so such and such is gonna happen in the finale. It's like, cool, dude, you recognize the fundamentals of storytelling.
you know, but when that happened, when when Willem Dafoe knocks Tom Holland out of the way, I kind of understood. Like I started smoking what people were smoking. I was like, I get it. I felt kind of vilified. Like, all right. Like, I thought that was going to happen, and the thing happened, and yay.
Wait, when Willem Dafoe knocked Tom Holland... Wait, what scene are you talking about?
No, the Andrew Garfield moment. When Zendaya falls,
yeah.
Tom Holland goes to grab her, Willem Dafoe knocks him out of the way. And as soon as... Because, again, like, that's what we saw in the trailer. Like, we saw Zendaya fall. We saw Tom Holland react. And he jumps out, and then he's like diving towards her, and we saw their two hands get closer together. And I was like, nah. Like even in that moment, I was like, this is like, fuck you. He's gonna catch her, and it's gonna be really boring. Dude, whatever.
This movie.
But then Willem Dafoe knocks him out of the way.
Yep.
And I was like, go fuck yourself. This is not about to happen.
This movie did a lot for you, didn't it?
No, I'm telling you, I'm going to walk you through it for shot by shot. And then it cuts to Zendaya reacting, going like, what? Peter got knocked out of the way. Holy shit. And I was like, don't do this to me, movie. Don't do this to me, movie. And because, dude, like you gotta remember, I'm coming hot off of Tick, Tick, Boom. Mm-hmm. I'm horny for Andrew Garfield right now. like not literally, but again, like it's just like he's such a good actor. It cuts to his fucking face, and he just goes, and it's like slow, and I'm like, you're not, no movie, don't do it. I want it like, cause again, like I'm not the type of person that likes to predict shit.
Yeah.
I don't pride myself on going like, I called it. Like, I just like to let stuff unfold. But it's, holy shit. I'm fucking crying right now, dude.
Oh, dude.
No, it's the one moment that I wanted to happen. It's, dude, in, like, from Iron Man in 2008 to Spider-Man No Way Home in 2021, it's the only time that I've little caveat, because I told you about that whole Tony Stark Aunt May scene where I wanted like Aunt May to like slap him across the face because he let Peter die. I told you about that, right?
I remember.
Yeah,
I remember.
That's the one that like got away from me. But like this is the one time where I've gone into an MCU film going, I'll probably like this, but if they did this one scene, that would be really cool. And they did that one scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you can relate to this because you're a fan. Like you go into a movie and you're like, they probably won't do this thing, but if they did, that would be neat. And they fucking did it. And dude, here's the thing. Like you've seen it twice. Maybe you can attest to this because here's another thing that I love about that fucking moment. And now that we're not streaming and we're free to talk about it, we can kind of go all we want.
We're still streaming.
It happened so quickly.
Yeah.
Cause in the theater, like when I watched it the first time, it felt like forever. Because I fell out of my seat and then I was like, oh shit, where am I? I'm upside down. And then I had to like stand up and like get my chair back in order and da-da-da. But I have since, illegally, obviously, because if you're in a movie theater, you should not film scenes on your cell phone and then upload them to YouTube. But I have watched that scene since then. It happens really quick. It's like 5 seconds long where he like catches her and then he lands.
Yeah, on my first, I don't know, I feel like movies do that a lot where your first watch through is really long. Like it feels really long. And then your second watch through is a lot slower. Like, or I'm sorry. It's a lot faster.
Right, yeah. Because you're not caught up in the emotion and the thrill. You're able to like really see all the cuts and everything.
And the film's pacing is a bit quick. It does slow down on the emotional parts where it needs to. But yeah, that scene is just a real like it goes in. It's really quick. It's a good nod to the character to the series, and then it goes away. And it's kind of like perfect in that way too.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that in watching people's reactions to it is what I think is a real testament to that scene is that it's not so much that he dives, he catches her, and then he lands and he saves her. Because like that literally happens so quick. Like and kind of like what we were talking about earlier, the CGI is a little sketchy. Like if you really analyze the specific shot where he like lands and he's like got MJ in his arms and whatnot. But it's the moment that happens after that really sells it. And this is what I love about this movie is that even though that sequence technically happens really quick, and it's okay that it happens quick, because holy shit, there's a lot that this movie has to do.
Yeah.
In the final act. Like you got to get to this moment, to that moment, to this moment, to that moment, etc. But he catches her. And this is also a testament to Andrew Garfield as an actor. Are you okay? And Zendaya says, yeah, I'm okay. And then she looks at him and she goes, are you okay? And because, again, the moment is not necessarily him catching her. This is what God damn it, this is what I fucking love about making movies. The moment, quote unquote, is not necessarily him catching her. It's him realizing that he caught her.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what sells it. That's the
real,
point.
like, because again, it's like you look at like you've seen it twice, but go back and just count the it's 3 seconds.
It's pretty.
That he
quick.
like sees her, he catches her, he lands, and it's like holy shit, that was quick. But then the fact that it lingers on his face, and he's got the tears streaming down his cheeks, and he realizes like. Because like and again like it's the you kind of build in the mythology because you're able to see in Andrew Garfield's performance he's replayed this moment for so many times. Like fuck, she like Gwen was falling and I shot the web. What did I do wrong? Like did I shoot the web too early? Did he's replayed this moment so many times, but then here in this moment with MJ in this universe, he saved her.
Yeah.
And he's like and you see it in his face like fuck all the equations that I did for the last however many years. It was fucking worth it. And I saved somebody.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
It's so
good.
That's what makes the movie so good. And that's why it's so like it's an event because it makes callbacks like that. I don't know I don't know what it would be like watching this film, never seeing any of those other films. Not knowing, like, can you imagine not like out of context watching that scene?
I mean, it's funny because I was talking to Colby about this literally today because obviously it's the holiday season, a lot of people's families are in town, but he was telling me a story that his brother was like, hey man, like do you want to go see Spider-Man? And Colby, because Colby, like Colby's cool, he was like, yeah, sure, let's go. And he was like, yeah, like are you sure you're ready to see this movie? And Colby was like, yeah, what do you mean? And he goes, well, have you seen the other movies? And Colby was like, nah. Because Colby's the type of dude who's like, yeah, I'll go see a movie. Because he can find entertainment in anything.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that people who, we talked about this earlier, like people who have not seen 10 films prior to this movie, same way people could watch Endgame, literally, and just be like, okay, it's entertaining. They can find something to be entertained by and find enjoyable. But the meat of it doesn't mean anything unless you've put in the work, quote unquote.
I agree, because like in all reality, it's like the movie itself does a good job in talking to people who haven't seen the film. And then, but then when, because he does reference like he failed at saving his version of MJ. So you as an audience member should be aware of what that might mean. However, it's like what you said. You don't get the meat and potatoes of it. You don't get the meat and potatoes. And so you're kind of left just like, yeah, I don't know. I need a. I feel like I watch a lot of stuff that I know nothing about, and yet I still want to know what it's like watching. Well, then again, Caitlin never. I should have asked her, because Caitlin really liked it. Caitlin cried during the film. Caitlin never saw the Amazing Spider-Man films, so to her,
she was crying. You just said?
Not during that scene, but she was crying. I think when like Aunt May died.
Well, that's like,
yeah, that's. I mean, that's the scene
that's
where you're supposed to cry. But I think like she felt. I forgot. I completely didn't even like ask her. I think she felt the weight of those scenes. I'm pretty sure she felt the weight of those scenes.
This is where you get into like the varying degrees of everything. I feel like there's another sect of people who didn't necessarily see those movies, but like they can understand, oh, I haven't seen those movies, but I know that Tobey Maguire like played Spider-Man in a bunch of movies in the early 2000s, so that probably means something. So therefore, I can kind of equate that feeling. You know?
Yeah.
Like kind of like if you watch like Citizen Kane or The Godfather or something, and you're like, this movie doesn't really do it for me, but I understand why people think it's a classic. Like it has that kind of same balance to it, where you're like, this doesn't really do anything for me because I wasn't there for it, or like I don't really get it, but I understand where this fits in the like pop cultural lexicon.
Yeah, and like we live in an age now, and I think we talked about this before. We live in an age where you can literally just Google. You can have a YouTuber explain everything to you. You don't have to go blind in something. Like you can get away with not watching films and understanding stuff. You know, like kind of like what you do, but like what I do. Like I don't read. I quit reading comic books. I don't read comic books anymore. I used to. Yeah. No, I don't. I haven't read comic books for over 10 years. I literally all my comic book information that I know it comes from YouTubers, dude. Like it comes from me just watching YouTubers and watching people talk about like that kind of stuff. And that's it. Like I know what I need to know for me, right? I don't try to go out and flex my knowledge, nor do I try to go out and what's it called? Or try to come off as like, oh, this is my information, right? Right. Yeah, dude, like, because I feel like if someone didn't see those 10 films leading up to this film, you could literally watch a recap. I went and watched Downton Abbey, the movie, never seeing the TV show before ever in my life, and I was like, I just watched a recap of Downton Abbey just to, and I understood, like I was able to appreciate the film because I did like a Cliff Notes version of like what I was supposed to do. Did I appreciate it as much as maybe the people that have been there throughout everything? Probably not, but I knew how I should feel. You know, I knew what this meant. I knew who this character was because the movie definitely didn't explain it to me. Like one of the characters was apparently he started out as like a doorman, and now he's gonna. I guess spoilers for Downton Abbey fans. If you're Happy, because Happy is a big fan of Downton Abbey in the Spider-Man universe. But yeah, like I I was able to get the information I needed. More or
Well, no,
less.
and honestly, like this kind of circumvents back to how you were talking about the third acts about the Disney Plus shows. Like, you know, I ultimately I have admitted to you, I did not technically watch a lot of the Disney Plus MCU shows, but I saw enough clips and bits and pieces to put together an informed opinion about them.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of going along with what you're saying, like, I may not have seen every nuance and every subtlety of Loki.
Right.
That being said, when Jonathan Majors fucking monologues for like 20 straight minutes at the end of that show, like in that season finale,
Mm-hmm.
as a theater fan and like as a person who like started as an actor wanting to be an actor and like resonates with performers, I'm like, that dude is fucking cool. I'm trying to think it goes back to like it may not resonate with me like character wise, but if I can see the actor inside of it, I still am on board.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like I might not like granted, I might not fully grasp everything that's going on with Loki, but when I see Jonathan Majors monologuing, I'm like, that dude's fucking cool. I wish I could do what he does. And therefore I am excited about what he's talking about. Same thing with WandaVision. Like, even though I feel like that show, and there was a lot. Let's be honest. There was a lot with that show of like, we're gonna be like a not a parody, but we're gonna like satirize like a lot of television, and there's a lot of stuff going on with that show.
Yeah, there is.
And especially when you get to the end where there's like White Vision and the SHIELD people and the Monica Rambeau of it all and Ralph Boner. Like, really? That was a thing? Remember? That was a thing? That was so stupid. But you get to that moment of Vision going, Wanda, what am I?
Mm-hmm.
And dude, you know what? I'm not going to paraphrase it, and I'm not going to bore you with the fucking 45 seconds it would take me to look it up. But just that speech she gives him about, like, you are the piece of the Mind Stone that still lives in me. You are a body of blood and bones and wires and da-da-da-da. That whole speech, and then him saying, you know, if we have said goodbye before, it stands to reason, and then she says, we will say hello again.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
Like, I might not have watched the fucking show, but holy shit do I fucking get that. And I lost track of where I was going with this. But what I'm saying is, like, it's as crazy and bombastic as these things might get. It just comes down to, like, if you get the human element right, I don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
Like, seriously, it's that moment on the rooftop with all three of the Peter Parkers. It's just the little moments in Hawkeye when he confesses to being Ronin.
Yeah.
For the first time, when Kate Bishop just looks at him and goes like, "It was you, wasn't it?" You know, or him looking at the memorial, going like, "Hey, Nat, I really wish that I could talk to you right now." Like, that's the fucking moment. And I've seen a lot of people talk about this, so it's not original what I'm about to say, but there needs to be a Disney Plus show which is just Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield just hanging out. and I wish like more things were talking about like that whole sequence when they're just chilling, it's the calm before the storm on the Statue of Liberty. And like this is something that I did want to bring up because I'm curious your thoughts about it.
Yeah.
So you have the moment where they're just kind of like hanging out, like they have their plan. We have all the cures, and then Tobey Maguire is like kind of like moving around. You know, he's like stretching his limbs and whatnot. And Andrew Garfield is like, "What's up, dude? What's up?" And Toby's like, no, it's nothing. It's my back. You know, and it's, first of all, it's just a nice moment between multiverse Peter Parkers of like, oh my god, like we're watching like alternate dimension versions of Peter Parker crack each other's backs.
Mm-hmm.
That's so great.
Yep.
But then there's the added layer of, wait, in Spider-Man 2, he had the thing of like, ow, like when he fell on the car, he was like, ow, my back.
My back. Oh yeah, this is like first things. I love. Anyways, but yes.
So there's two extra layers to that. One of which I know that you know about. I hope that you know about, and the second of which maybe you know about. I don't know about this. So the first layer of that is that the reason that moment even exists in Spider-Man 2 is because in Spider-Man 2, that's a meta reference, because Tobey Maguire, when he was filming the movie Seabiscuit, actually injured himself to the point that he might not be in Spider-Man 2.
Oh my gosh, I did not know this.
Yes, when he was filming Seabiscuit, he hurt his back really bad. And so when you see him in Spider-Man 2 going like, ow, my back, it's kind of like, hey, remember in the other movie when he was like, he hurt himself? Ha ha ha, meta, ha ha ha. So here's the second layer of that. So when Tobey was filming Seabiscuit, he injured himself to the point that Sam Raimi and Sony, or at the time Columbia Pictures, had to consider, well, Tobey might not be ready to film Spider-Man 2 when we need him to, so we might have to recast.
Oh my gosh.
Guess who was number one on their list to play Peter Parker if Tobey Maguire was not ready to go?
Is it the guy who played Flash Thompson in Spider-Man 3?
No. I'll give you a hint, and it's somebody who kind of sort of looks like Tobey Maguire, has the same sort of boyish features as Tobey Maguire, and it's someone who is already in the MCU. Well, I shouldn't say already, because at the time it was like 2005 or whatever, but it's another actor who has been in a Spider-Man movie in the MCU.
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh my gosh, really?
A young and upcoming Jake Gyllenhaal was considered to replace Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 2 because even now, but especially at the time, they kind of look alike.
Wow.
In as much as they have like very boyish features, they just seem very youthful and innocent and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is like this is another one of those like meta references that like they easily could have done, but I'm kind of glad that they didn't go that far, because like Tom Holland could have looked at Tobey Maguire and been like, "Hey, you kind of look like a guy that
I
had a fishbowl on his head in London." But never mind. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Like,
yeah, that would have been a little too far.
But that's the thing about this movie is that you're like, oh my god, like for me as a person who likes to write stuff and likes to make stuff, I would love to get in a room with Kevin Feige and the producers and the screenwriters of this movie and just be like, what didn't make it in this movie? because seriously, like I have to assume you guys have reams of dialogue that you wrote but you didn't end up filming, or reels and reels and reels of footage that you're just like, just improvise some stuff. Like come on. Like, you got Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland in a room together. What didn't make it in the movie? Like, come on. Like, that's easily 4 hours of content. Like, come on.
That's a good question. I never thought about that. I never think about the things that didn't make in the movie. I know, like, when I watch like those Star Wars docs and things of that nature, they talk about like what George wanted and kind of like the vision that, you know, that he dreamt of for certain things. And like in the original like Force Awakens, they wanted Rey to get in the Millennium Falcon, hold up the lightsaber, and then like slice apart a Star Destroyer as the Millennium Falcon flew around the Star Destroyer, and she was just like letting the lightsaber go to town on it. I was like, that's a bit much. That's cool. That's a bit much for me. But that's
that's along the same lines of like Captain America, or what was it in Endgame? Like Thanos drop kicks Captain America's head to him.
Where like Captain America was holding. Wait, what?
No, like when Thanos appears to everybody at the end of Endgame, and he's like it all led you back to me or whatever. But he literally drop kicks something towards Captain America, and then Captain America like reaches down, grabs it in its own head from a different timeline.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because Thanos, when he shows up, he's like, yes, I've already visited 2017 or like whatever it is, and he's like, you tried to stand up to me then and you couldn't defeat me. I already defeated you. I will defeat you again.
That
like
oh, that.
But
wow,
dude, like that's
dark.
the thing that you hear after the fact, and you're like, wait a minute, like Thanos straight up like kicked Chris Evans's head to himself like it was a fucking soccer ball. Put that in a movie. What are you talking about? And then you remember, no, it's Disney. 12-year-olds. You can't do that.
They gotta learn someday, Jeff.
Alien.
They gotta learn
I
someday.
agree. Bro.
Today's the day.
You are preaching to the choir of choirs, my friend.
Oh my gosh, dude. That would traumatize me.
Want to be traumatized? Like, dude, I'm still holding out. Like Infinity War is probably the closest that we've gotten thus far to like, holy shit, I'm gonna go take a walk.
You know, oh man, that's the crazy part though. I didn't have that feeling in Infinity War. I think I knew. I did
not have that feeling.
Everyone else did, but me. Like I didn't. Well, that's the thing though, is because so I was still like into comic books at the time, and my dad and my uncle, way before MCU even existed, my dad and my uncle like told me about Infinity War. They had the comic book, and I already knew. Like I was going into the theater, I was telling my friends how everyone's going to die. I didn't watch any YouTube videos or anything. I was telling my friends, like, yeah, like, everyone's gonna die in this film. Like, don't be surprised if everyone's gone. And I was the thing is like, I was telling my friends this too. I was like, yeah, like, Thanos turns Thor into glass and shatters him. He puts a brick over Cyclops' head. He smashes Spider-Man's head in. Like,
X-Men aren't in this movie, Mario.
What? Oh, X-Men aren't in this movie? Oh, shit, man. It's the Infinity Gauntlet, man. He can do whatever he wants. He'll bring the X-Men in just to kill them. And then it was just like, I already knew. And when it happened, I was kind of like, yeah, that was supposed to happen. And everyone in the audience was freaking out. And I was like, oh, that's right. You guys just don't know superhero stuff. And in my head, and then like I was so annoyed leading up to Endgame because in the comic book they go back in time and they fix things. And so everyone's like, oh, I think they're going to go back in time. Do you think they're going to go back in time? I think they're going to go back in time. And I'm like, why is this something we're theorizing? Like, they're obviously taking from the source. We know what book they're taking it from. Like, yes, they're going to go back in time. How are they going to, they're probably not going to do the exact same thing, but they're going to do it. Like, we're not, like, why are we acting like this is something new? And I was just, for me, I really enjoyed the Infinity War saga, but I didn't have the shock value or the emotional value that everyone else had. I was just like, yeah, this is what was supposed to happen, guys. Like that scene with like Captain America standing up to Thanos. Like with Captain America picking up the hammer, that was a cool scene. But at the same time, I'm like, Cap's the hammer in the comics before. Like I was like, oh, that's so cool to see it on big screen. Like that was my moment. I was like, I get to see it in live action. That is so cool. But for everyone else, it was like, oh my god, he picked up the hammer. I'm like, what, are we really surprised that Cap picked up the hammer? Like, you guys never been on Twitter before? Like, you guys never like, I was kind of cynical. I was kind of cynical about the whole experience.
I mean, I hear you, because that's exactly how I was with Spider-Man No Way Home. I was like, because actually, so the Toby thing is the one that I talked about, but Andrew is a better example in terms of, and this is something that you and I talk about a lot, is don't believe it until the movie shows you.
Yeah.
So, like, when Ned first opened... So, because the thing is that, like, Andrew is the first one to show up. He shows up before. So, when Ned is like, I just wish we could see Peter. And the portal opens up, and you see, like, that long shot, like down an alleyway. And you see, like, a Spider-Man costume. In my theater, people immediately started cheering. Because they could recognize specifically that is the Amazing Spider-Man costume.
Yeah.
And me, I was like, why are you cheering? It's a fucking Spider-Man costume. Because, again, I'm cynical. And then, you know, blah, 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 some stuff happens. And then he, like, jumps through the portal. And he's, like, he's in the living room, and they're talking to him. And you can clearly see that it's the Amazing Spider-Man costume.
Yeah.
And people are, like, out of their seats. Whoa! Fuck yeah! And still, I'm like, cool. It's because in the back of my mind, it's like, that's a dude in a Spider-Man costume. That's not Andrew Garfield. Fuck you talking about? That's a dude in a Spider-Man costume. Go fuck yourself. And he starts talking to Ned, and he's talking to MJ, and he's like talking. And then he takes his fucking mask off, and it's Andrew Garfield. And then I was like, yeah! That's Andrew Garfield! But that's the thing, is that, like, I'm in that headspace of, like, it's not real until the movie tells you it's real.
Exactly.
Like, dude, I knew, because again, I knew both of them were going to be in this movie.
Yeah.
There's no, and here's the key. Because this is another thing that I've seen a couple of people talk about, but I don't think I've seen enough people talk about, is if you don't, like if you're Kevin Feige, or if you're anybody that works at Marvel, if you don't get Toby, there's no reason to do multiverse.
That's a good point.
Like, what I'm saying is, imagine if it was just like, oh, Andrew Garfield was another version of Peter Parker, but you don't have Tobey Maguire Peter Parker there. You're like, oh, cool. Those are some movies that came out a couple years ago, I guess. You know? But again, like that's the magic of it, is like, yeah, like Toby fucking did it because it fucking means something. Like the thing that I yearn to see, that I can't fucking find, is like I want to see the hour-long documentary behind the scenes feature or whatever of like again, I want to see just Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield just talking for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck how you did the CGI this or how like much respect to stunt teams and fight choreographers and CGI artists. Like you know me, mucho respect to all of those people. All I want is those dudes just talking forever. Forever. Nothing will ever compare to that.
I guess, it's kind of nice.
Because they probably, like, they worked together for, like, 2 days, and then 75% of their stuff was on green screen. I don't know.
I guess it's kind of nice because he didn't have to go on, like, press tours and stuff like that for it.
Oh, you're talking about Toby?
Yeah, Toby and Andrew.
I mean, Andrew had to deal with a lot of it, though. Andrew was trying to do press for Tick Tick Boom, and all anybody ever wanted to talk about was Spider-Man.
That sucks.
He was like, yeah, like working with Lynn was so great, and I learned how to sing, and I play piano, and da da da. And then people were like, yeah, that's nice. Are you Spider-Man? And he was like, oh, I've heard that. I've heard the rumors. So anyway, Bohemia, Bo. And then people were like, no, we want to talk about Spider-Man.
That sucks. That's so annoying.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that to an actor.
Benedict Cumberbatch, like he has this movie on Netflix right now called Power of the Dog, where he's like getting Oscar buzz for like best actor, and
yeah, I heard about that.
A big Oscar movie, and people are like, "Oh my god, like Power of the Dog, it's so good!" Like you and Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons, like, "Oh my god, you guys are so good." Da, da, da. So what can you tell me about Spider-Man? And he's like, so which question do you want me to answer exactly? You want me to talk about the movie I'm here to promote, or do you want me to talk about the movie that you want me to promote?
Isn't that crazy though? Like, well, I guess that's a conversation we can have for next week, or the buzz around that kind of stuff. Just like how certain movies just explode for the audience, and is that really a good thing, or is that not really? Is that not the best thing?
Mm-hmm. I for one think it's stupid.
But oh man, that's all that you're gonna get out of me today, dude. I am worn out. It's like 1 a.m.
Yeah. I have more notes, but we'll get to those later.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. Bring them up in the future. I'm so happy you love this movie so much. I mean, it's a hard movie not to love, but
I did, dude. And again, the moment I want to be like the big takeaway is I'm dead serious. Fucking Tobey Maguire, the moment where he catches the glider, which is another thing. Everybody's talking so much about Andrew's redemption, where he saves MJ, where previously he could not save Gwen. But the thing that I have not seen enough people talk about is in the first Sam Raimi movie, Green Goblin dies by his glider. But in No Way Home, Tom Holland is about to kill Green Goblin with the glider, and Toby stops him.
This is such a good point. I didn't even think about that. Because Toby feels bad.
That's a whole other redemption thing.
Yeah, Toby feels bad that he allowed Green Goblin to die.
Yeah.
And now he gets to save.
And
wow.
Dude, I'm convinced that's a fucking Oscar-worthy performance. I can't form words because it blows my fucking brain. Legitimately, Mario. He just looks at him, You've seen the movie twice. You know what I'm talking about. He
Yeah.
just catches the glider and just looks
No
at
words needed.
it. Doesn't do anything. It's so good.
Both and like we're talking about these guys, but Tom Holland did his performance is so good.
Yeah, and he's British. Andrew Garfield's British technically, but Tom Holland's the only person in this movie doing an accent. Not really. Alfred Molina. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like he's so good at expressing his emotions and getting emotional and things like that. It's like,
yeah,
these are all such.
Like
it was a good film. It was a good film.
The villains, like Jamie Foxx, like clearly he sat down with Kevin Feige and he's like, all right, look. So my character in the last movie was like this, but my take on my character in your movie is this Electro Fox.
Yeah.
So,
he doesn't even hide it. He says it in the film. He's like, I like who I am in this dimension. I like who I am here.
yeah.
I think it was a better version of Electro. The other Electro didn't sit well with me. I love that part where he's like, I just thought you'd be black. That has two meanings behind it. Obviously, we know Miles Morales exists, but it's another reason why why Spider-Man is, I don't think it's the number one selling toy anymore, but Spider-Man used to be like the number one selling toy. It's at least the number one selling superhero toy because he's covered from head to toe. Anyone can project themselves as Spider-Man.
Anybody can wear the mask.
Oh, I heard this joke. There's this joke. So someone was making fun of Batman, and then another person was like trying to defend Batman, and they go, you know why Batman has a cowl, right? It's so that police officers can see that he's a white person. And the other person was like, how dare you say something like that in these times about Batman? He's like, there has been one other Batman that was actually black, and he wears a full mask. Oh, fuck. Oh man, that was like, but yeah, it's like, yeah. We're definitely gonna talk more about this, dude. There's no way we're not gonna talk more about this, but I'm gonna call it here for me. It's good to be back on stream. I took a break. I can't wait to talk to you guys more tomorrow. I'm editing videos. I'll be putting out videos. Expect to see clips from this podcast. Until next time, guys. Play nice.